That was 45 seconds to airtime. Your next time check will be 30 seconds to airtime. Today's feed is also available on the Motor Racing Network's private frequency at the Speedway. The Motor Racing Network may not be held responsible for conversations overheard by monitoring this frequency.
Hello everybody and welcome to all the action for the Cup practice here at Richmond. We're on a Friday for all of the action, which is slightly unusual, but we've got practice followed by qualifying to set the grid for the Cookout 400. Also coming in tonight, we've got the NASCAR truck race. We're running back to back. Let's cross over to our commentary team as we get ready for practice and qualifying.
Live on the Motor Racing Network, it's the NASCAR Cup Series.
Let's get a big thumbs up. Get ready to rock and roll past the race cars today, pal. Cool, boys. Let's execute. Have a good day.
Today, practice and pole qualifying for the Cookout 400 from Richmond Raceway. Presented on MRN by E3 Spark Plugs. Powerful and fuel efficient. Find E3 at your nearest auto parts store.
With 2 races to go in the regular season for the NASCAR Cup Series, the series comes to the Commonwealth of Virginia and the 3/4-mile Richmond Raceway for the Cookout 400. Motor Racing Network is live and on the air from Virginia's capital city with coverage of practice and qualifying. Mike Bagley here alongside Alex Hayden and Todd Gordon, Steve Post and Chris Milner in the pits and the garage. Group 1 has just pulled out onto the racetrack for 25 minutes of practice, Alex, on a very, very hot afternoon here in Virginia.
Yeah, it is. With the high humidity, the feels like here is 98 degrees here in Richmond, and these drivers are going to be feeling that here in this 25-minute practice session, which, by the way, is just underway. So Group 1 cars are on the racetrack right now getting their opening laps in, and Todd, is this fair to say these first couple of laps may be the fastest laps of the entire session?
I would expect that. It's the cleanest the racetrack's going to be. You've got guys out here. We've got good cars in this group as well. Kyle Larson hit the top of the board, but John Hunter Nemechek a little bit faster than that. This is the practice that will be the fastest. I don't know if it's the most realistic to the race time. We're going to lay rubber down here. The second practice, I think, gets a little better picture of what they might see tonight.
So what we have right now are Cup cars on the racetrack in those hot conditions, but we won't be racing in those conditions. So what's that fine line these crew chiefs and these drivers will walk, not to get pulled into a false maybe chassis setup for tomorrow night or adjustments made?
Yeah, I feel like the racetrack kind of frees up as it gets to nighttime, but it's also freed up when it's green like this. So this may be something that becomes not too disconnected, although it's going to be hot and slick. The biggest thing I think these crew chiefs are going to look to, this is a new tire for Richmond versus what we had last year. Basically, it's the option tire that we had on the right side and a new left side that Goodyear claims is a little bit softer than what we had last year for the option tire. Guys are going to be looking to see how much lap time falls off here and how much the wear is. And that's going to be exaggerated here with a green racetrack.
For instance, Kyle Busch, his fastest lap was his second at 8.48 seconds. 2 laps later, 23.156. So he's given up, 0.3 of a second already in just 2 laps.
And that's what we want here at Richmond. That's what's going to put this in the driver's hands, and those skill sets will take over, especially in a race tomorrow night, Alex, that has a reputation of long green flag runs.
It has as of late in the last 4 years. You're right about that. And they have had 3 to 4 green flag pit stops over the last 4 races here at Richmond as far as the NASCAR Cup Series drivers go. We mentioned this is the Group A that's on the track.
And this first grouping of drivers includes Corey Heim, who's driving for 23XI Racing tomorrow, but tonight he'll be racing in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series Aero 250. One of many starts in Corey Heim's NASCAR Cup Series early career. Jesse Love is also going to make the move over from the Xfinity Series this weekend. They're off. He'll be driving a Richard Childress racing car. He's on track right now. Cole Custer's in this group along with Josh Berry, Cody Ware, Ty Dillon, John Hunter Nemechek, Todd Gilliland, and Kyle Larson also in this practice as well.
As is Ty Gibbs, Justin Haley, Brad Keselowski, Riley Herbst, Noah Gregson, Ricky Stenhouse Jr., Kyle Busch, Zane Smith, Michael McDowell, and the winner from this race a year ago, Austin Dillon.
Now, there are two drivers that are not in this group that will be in the next group. They happen to be Joe Gibbs Racing teammates who, if one of the JGR cars wins tomorrow night, that'll give JGR their 20th win here in NASCAR Cup Series competition at Richmond Raceway. Let's start with the OG of worn-out racetracks, a guy that knows how to conserve tires, and a driver that's been very successful here. Denny Hamlin looks to add to that winning tally. Let's get an update on Denny as he's watching this practice group right now on the racetrack.
Denny is keeping a keen eye on things out there with the cars on the racetrack, and you're right, this has been such a wonderful racetrack for him, Mike. 5 wins here at the racetrack, but even more than that, last year he had a win and a second-place finish. He had a second-place finish back in 2023. 2022, it was a win and a fourth-place finish. The guy is really, really good here, and this team needs really, really good. The last 2 races have not been good, 24th and 25th place finishes, so this is a welcome sight for Denny Hamlin to get those chops ready for the playoffs. Yeah, he's locked in. He's a 4-time winner. He's trying to get as many points as possible, as playoff points. He is locked in, but you want to come in with some momentum, and this racetrack is the perfect racetrack for Denny Hamlin and this team. I talked to Chris Gale just before the practice session. Their goal is to go out, put the green flag in the air, and run until the checkered flag to try to get some sense of what the tire degradation, the lack of speed, the loss of speed on these tires are. Denny has an understanding of this. They're going to rely on Denny's understanding along with what those lap times go to put a strategy together for tomorrow night. So Denny Hamlin, boy, look at his chops when he comes here to the home racetrack, and he should be hard to handle here over the course of 400 laps tomorrow night.
And it's worth talking about, Todd, that these aren't bad tires that Goodyear brought here. For a newer fan or somebody that may not quite understand what we're talking about with the tires giving up and the lap time slowing down drastically like what we're seeing right now, it's a bad tire.
No, this is actually Goodyear doing things that NASCAR has wanted them to do, that the drivers have asked for. They want a tire that we have to take advantage, that we have to take care of, that we can manage, that good, talented drivers, that their talent can show through. And in doing that, Goodyear's made a lot of steps here on the short track program to bring softer tires that are going to have a little more wear. They're going to create some more heat. They're going to have their grip go away. That's intentional. And then we get to see how talented these drivers are at managing that fall off, that lap time fall off that Goodyear's brought to them.
If you remember last year in this racing weekend, we had 2 tire options. We had the yellow sidewall, which is the quote-unquote normal Goodyear Racing Eagle, and then we had the red sidewalls, which was that softer option too. In the offseason, Goodyear and NASCAR came to the decision to use that red sidewall as the primary tire, and they've done that at every short track this year, and we've seen that pay off. That is the effort that's been undertaken to try to tighten up this short track. I'm watching cars coming off the corner, Todd, and they are having a handful right now, which you talk about putting it back in the driver's hands. That's what everybody wants to see, and we're seeing it right now in this practice.
Yeah, we definitely are, and kudos to Goodyear in working with the teams, with NASCAR, and the industry understanding and not bad-mouthing them, because they're creating something that isn't the long life that we would want our street tire. They're creating something that makes great racing, and they've been additive to the program here. We're seeing it here. Bowman Gray, we had this tire for the first time this year, put on a great show there. We've run it at Martinsville. We've run it at North Wilkesboro. We've got it here at Richmond. It's going to be interesting. I've been talking to crew chiefs down there in the garage. They're saying that third stage, which is 165 green flag laps, they're questioning whether it's 2 stops or 3 stops because of how much lap time fall off we can have. Love the strategy calls that are going to be brought forward.
On a short track, to illustrate this a little further, the fastest driver right now on single lap speeds is Kyle Busch. His fast speed is 118.172 miles per hour. 16 laps later, he's completed now 18 laps. In 16 laps, he is over 9 miles an hour a lap slower than what he was on his fast lap. His fast speed 118.172. His last lap speed 109.895. So in miles per hour vernacular, he's almost 10 miles an hour a lap slower than his fastest lap.
Now let's throw something else in to complicate this. They've not gotten any extra sets of tires from what we had last year. So now as a crew chief, you're really got to think about what you're doing, because the knee-jerk reaction, a lot of times when we have an abundance of tires, every time the caution flag comes out, you come get 4 new ones. That may not be the case tomorrow night.
So as we look at this, Goodyear allows the teams 8 sets of sticker tires and their qualifying scuffs for the race. And if you look at this race, to your point, if you come at the end of stage 1 at lap 70, you put tires on. That's 1 set. You've got a set on the car to start with. That's the first set, so that'd be 2. 2 sets in the middle of stage 2, another set at the end of it, 2 sets in the middle of 3. That leaves you 1 set of stickers left and your scuff qualifiers. If a caution comes in the middle of stage 1, I've talked to crew chiefs that set of scuffs may come into play to save that last set of stickers. And that's if we 2-stop. We talked about there's an opportunity to 3-stop. If you do that in stage 3, you're out of tires. If there's a caution late with 10 to go, you're out, you're SOL. So it's one of those situations that you've got to put yourself in that place and go forward.
Right now, Kyle Busch the fastest on single lap speeds. Kyle Busch the fastest on the 5-lap average. Kyle Busch the fastest on the 10-lap average. What about the 15-lap average? If you said Kyle Busch, give yourself a prize. Kyle Busch right now is the man here in this opening practice. We heard from Steve Post a moment ago. Chris Wilner from Carmel, Indiana is also joining us here for practice and pole qualifying for the NASCAR Cup Series. Chris, what kind of things are you following here early on?
Well, Alex, one of the things that we touched on with Steve Post's reports on Denny Hamlin is the fact that Joe Gibbs Racing in general has been very good at Richmond. No mind to Chase Briscoe, the qualifying machine. He'll be one of those that we will contend to watch with as far as his practice speeds and potential run at a 7th pole here in 2025, coming up in a little bit later in group number 2. Now, I talked to James Small, the crew chief for Chase Briscoe, who, again, crew chief for Martin Truex Jr. all those years, that Truex basically made this place his personal playground. I said, does anything translate from what Martin Truex Jr. did to what you can apply to Chase Briscoe? He said, absolutely. The cars may have changed, but Martin Truex Jr. worked with every Joe Gibbs Racing driver just on the mechanics of getting around this place. He taught me, James Small, so much about what I need out of the race car that I've kept a notebook of everything he told me, and now I'm applying it to our race cars here today. They feel like they'll have a really good long run car for Chase Briscoe when he goes out in practice number 2. He said the tire advantage, or the disadvantage, because of the allotment being so small, we have to run this full 25-minute session to its absolute maximum so we can see how much we learn, because I don't know if we can go 45 to 50 laps without really seeing a tire issue. And don't forget, to Todd's point, stage 1 is 70 laps, so they're really concerned about where the fall off is going to be. But James Small feels like they've got a really good notebook, and Chase Briscoe could be another factor again. Off of 2 straight top 5 finishes, he could add another one, possibly a win in that 19 machine this weekend.
Chase Briscoe, the only driver to finish top 10 in all the short track races this year. And as far as the tires giving up over the course of a run, Kyle Busch has just put his 27th lap on the board in practice, and his speed has fallen off 11 miles per hour. From Richmond Raceway, this is the Motor Racing Network, the voice of NASCAR.
You've never been one to idly watch someone else do something for you. There's pride in self-reliance, in working with your hands, in harnessing the power of an E3 spark plug with Diamond Fire technology, yielding better engine performance. You have a choice to make. Take control of your ride, of your life, or be the passenger princess of it. Visit e3sparkplugs.com to put the power in your hands.
Do you have $10,000 or more in credit card debt? Are you barely getting by making minimum payments? With credit card debt reaching all-time highs, National Debt Relief is letting everyone know about great debt relief options now available to help people with overwhelming credit card debt. These options may reduce a large portion of your credit card debt. Get a free debt relief consultation when you call 800-212-2828. 800-212-2828. That's 800-212-2828.
Practice and pole qualifying from Richmond Raceway is brought to you on MRN by E3 Spark Plugs. Stuck in slow motion? Unleash the NASCAR fire inside your engine with E3 Spark Plugs. Forget pit stops too. E3 gives you maximum fuel efficiency for more miles on the road and less time at the pump. E3 Spark Plugs. Power, speed, domination. Get yours today.
Kyle Busch, the fastest in single lap speeds. He's been the fastest on all the averages. And right now, taking that black Chevrolet Camaro to the pit lane, and the crew's going to go to work. He ran 30 consecutive laps, Todd.
Yeah, a good run for Kyle Busch. Ended the last lap at 25:30. We're seeing a lot of guys in the mid-25 second ranges. Fast laps are 25 teens. The one I'm interested in here, Brad Keselowski, 31 laps into it. His lap was a 25 flat. That's actually showing that long run speed. Doesn't show himself on the single car speed up front, but he's putting that long run speed together.
Brad Keselowski checking boxes, Kyle Busch checking boxes. Veteran drivers that know how to work wearing tires on a worn racetrack. To Steve Post.
Yeah, you guys talking about Brad Keselowski, and in the earlier segment of that, the first 15 or 20 laps, it did not seem like they were happy with the car. And Brad reported the car was loose up off from the corner. Jeremy Bowens, though, the steady hand on the wheel, just kind of said he's reading his lap times, and all of a sudden, this thing is starting to equalize here. As you guys referenced, I think we're 30-some laps into it, and Brad Keselowski, while he does not feel good about the car, let's not say that the car drives really, really good. He feels good about the car. They feel good about the car relative to everybody else 30 laps into the run. Still, wish it was a little tighter up off of the corners, but Brad Keselowski, overall, their numbers looking really, really good for their fourth for Brad Keselowski.
And keep in mind, just a couple of weeks ago, we raced at the 7/8 mile Iowa Speedway out there in Newton, Iowa, which shaped very similar to Richmond Raceway. Had some tire degradation there, not as severe as what we have here, but can you take anything from Iowa and apply it here to Richmond? Because
No.
Brad was really good at Iowa.
You can take the momentum that they had, the fact that they were the fastest car there. I feel like the 6 car at Iowa was the best car. As far as what speed was, I think those pieces come forward. We look at them and say that Iowa is 7/8, this is 3/4 of a mile. They drive completely different. Iowa drives like a really little intermediate track. This is more of a short track. Really, when you look at how you get into turn 3 here, really tight here, a lot of braking.
Let's talk about momentum, because some believe in it, some don't. The race car doesn't know that it has momentum. What does it give the team?
It gives confidence. It gives the ability to say, I am good, that we are building something, that we found some balance. You mean that you feel positive about the things you got in your race car, and that is there. Let's not forget, this is a human factor. Your drivers are real. They're human beings. They're not robots. They are emotionally driven, and this gives you an opportunity when you have a run like that you've got a lot of speed. You've got an opportunity to build off of that coming forward.
Continuing here in this Group 1 practice, 8 minutes, 25 seconds to go here in this 25-minute session. Seen drivers moving around all the racetrack, some of them in the middle of the track through the corner. Some have gone to a third lane outside, which is not all that uncommon here at Richmond as of late. So these drivers searching for grip when they know that that's something they're going to have to do for tomorrow night's Cookout 400. You can't run in the same lane every single lap after lap after lap. So that all being said, Kyle Busch is still the fastest. He's the best also, Steve Post, on all the averages as well. He made a 30-lap run.
Well, exactly, and an interesting swap out here, and just checked in with Randall Burnett, and Todd Gordon, I want to bring you into this. They actually have gone with a different steering wheel, a little smaller steering wheel. They had the big steering wheel in, and I think Randall felt good about their 30-lap average. Kyle didn't necessarily like the feel of it, and they've gone with a different, smaller steering wheel. So, good race car. You can maybe make an adjustment on that to see what your driver thinks on it. Todd, why a smaller steering wheel?
Well, it changes your hand speed as to what's going on with the car. If you think about like road course racing, we would always run a smaller wheel because the same amount of hand speed can get the front tires to turn quicker. It changes the reaction of the car to your hand motions because as you make a big 18-wheeler steering wheel, in order to make a quarter turn on it, you've got to move your hands a long ways. Well, if I put a little a little 12-inch wheel in it, I don't have to turn my hand as far to get that 90 degrees of motion in the steering wheel. So it will speed up the car's reaction to your hand and maybe give Kyle Busch a little different feel.
Just part of the nuances of NASCAR racing here, trying to make sure, to Todd's point a moment ago, Mike, drivers are human. They got to have what they have to make them comfortable and confident in their race cars.
Now, by all means, we are not giving Kyle Busch the trophy and the check and the mantle and all this for tomorrow night. However, If he were to win tomorrow night and add to his win tally, that totally turns the playoff leaderboard upside down. He right now is 18th. He is 102 points out and looking in. A win in this race tomorrow night would be a total season changer for Kyle Busch.
Oh, definitely would. And I think they're capable of that. And their teammate is capable of that. If you look back, Ty Dillon won this race last year, and I know there's a lot of controversy over how he won it. Oh, sorry. Austin Dillon won it last year. Austin Dillon had a 4-second lead when the caution came out with 2 to go. Like, he was on his way to victory. They've had good pace. I think there's a lot of notebook there that Randall Burnett and the 18 can bring forward and use with Ty Dillon's or Austin Dillon's car as well.
With lap times around 25.5 seconds right now, 5.5 minutes left in this practice session. 45 laps is where we're at right now in the number of laps, most that have been run. Kyle Larson's run 45 consecutive laps. Brad Keselowski and Michael McDowell and Riley Herbst, there's a bunch of them that are still out there chugging along, Mike, that are trying to do exactly what we laid out between Chris and Steve and Todd. Run as many laps as you possibly can here in 25 minutes.
Kyle Busch, the fastest overall. John Hunter Nemechek, second. Noah Gragson, third. Corey Heim, fourth. And Kyle Larson in the fifth position. Let's get an update on Kyle right now with Chris.
Well, all the talk on the radio, Mike, has just been lap times for Kyle. He did come over the radio about 5 laps ago and said it's really tight in 3 and 4, but I really like the balance of the race car turning into turns 1 and 2. And that's critical because there are some patches, little repaved patches and portions of the racetrack on the bottom side of 1 and 2 that a lot of the drivers pointed at maybe that was going to make the car behave just a little bit different, the grip level being different on that end of the racetrack than in 3 and 4. But Kyle likes that area of the racetrack. It's just now turns 3 and 4 his focus. The lap times, you guys mentioned it, laps 45, 46 going on the board for the Hendrick Car Chevrolet, and they really feel like they're in a good window. So the long run speed they're happy with for Cliff Daniels and crew, as they will let Kyle possibly run the rest of this session out. And on the flip side, Ty Gibbs, who's just up the road from me on pit road, they've got about 10 to 11 laps fresher tires. They didn't fire off when everybody rolled off pit road at the drop of the green flag for this session. So they're not really measuring themselves on a Kyle Larson who is on the lap leaders on this mark. But once again, that Toyota feels like they are starting to come to life now that they're surpassed the 30-lap mark on Ty Gibbs.
And Chris Willner referenced the patches down in turns 1 and 2. I actually walked out this morning to take a look at them. I noticed them in the modified race last night. There are black patches down through there. It's not new asphalt. It's sealed on top of asphalt that was kind of coming apart where they had to do a lot of seam sealing in there, and they sealed on top of it. So the aggregate under it's still the old wore-out racetrack. They're just a little darker on the racetrack for these racetracks.
That's almost to a flashback of days gone by. This is one of the racetracks Barney Hall used to call it. They used to put the bear grease down on the racetrack. Yeah. And that, what is the net effect of sealing the track like that?
Well, in this case, I think it's just keeping the track together. It's an area of the racetrack that was starting to kind of break and crack, and they put some sealer into it to kind of keep the longevity of the racetrack and can not have a problem with the racetrack coming up. So this place is worn out. It's great racing because of it, but in these cases there's some black spots down there, but really it's not any different asphalt than what they've got.
What are the challenges, Todd, we know that there's a high probability of green flag pit. You got super worn out tires, hot drivers, frustrated the car doesn't have grip in it, and oh, by the way, you got to come to pit lane without giving up too much time. How challenging is it here at Richmond to get on pit road without causing any problems?
It is. It's a challenge, and we've seen several guys clip that commitment box. It's right there at the apex of turns 3 and 4, and getting down under it, especially with the worn out tires, it's a challenge to get down there. Part of running this practice out, as I see Michael McDowell hit lap 52, Kyle Larson at lap 52, we're going to get as many laps as we can. That's probably in the realm of what your green flag cycle is. So at the end of this practice, in a little over 2 minutes, they're going to make a hot run at pit road and see how they can get down there. The biggest challenge, though, is you're running that bottom line. Like, you gotta be waving at somebody and making sure you don't get run over trying to come to pit road as well.
Now, what's been interesting to watch, Alex, you and I noticed this as well during one of the commercial breaks. The track is widening out from the standpoint of, like, Kyle Larson right now. 3 lanes off the bottom. Tomorrow night, over the course of the 400 laps, they may be up against the wall, which is obviously everybody's trying to look for as much grip as possible. So the track is wide enough to do it. And right now, the cars, after these long runs, Kyle Larson's just turned his 54th lap in. These cars look like they are crawling coming off the corners.
Yeah, they do. It's almost like they rocket down straightaways and come nearly to a stop in the middle of the corner and then get back on the gas. But when there's just no grip left in the tires because the asphalt just eating them alive, that's what you're going to have here just to maintain control.
3 seconds slower than his fastest lap, Kyle Larson, and he's very competitive right now. That's how much we see in 55 seconds or 55 laps. That makes for comers and goers, and if somebody comes and puts tires on, it's going to be impressive how much of an advantage they've got.
Well, right now, Kyle Larson, at this very moment, on the last lap he's just turned, 13 miles an hour slower than the fastest lap that he turned in. The guy that's leading this practice, 14 miles an hour slower than where he began. So if the mission was to create that fall off in the tire or create that opportunity for lap times to decrease and really create that handful for the drivers, Alex, in Group 1, I say we've checked those boxes.
Yeah, we have. To me, this is going to be a perfect illustration, not just now, but in tomorrow's Cookout 400 as well, a perfect illustration of why NASCAR Cup Series racing is, in fact, a team sport. The driver has to do their job. The crew chief and the engineers, the strategists, all have to do their jobs to when to come to pit lane. And obviously, pit crew's got to execute down there every time you come to pit road.
And we'll have plenty of opportunities to come to pit road and get those tires and let those guys do their things. Keep in mind that first stage is another 14 laps longer than what Kyle Larson just went in practice. Not knowing where you're going to get to, but a lot of data to gather out of this practice.
3 cars left on the racetrack. Ricky Stenhouse Jr., Michael McDowell, also the car of Austin Dillon. Stenhouse and McDowell bring their cars to pit road. Black and red flags are flying, indicating the end of Group 1 practice here at Richmond. Austin Dillon's going to make another lap here as he comes off the corner, and now he'll take that number 3 Chevrolet to pit road. Take a little pause here between the groups. Group 2 chomping at the bit, getting strapped into their race cars.
They are ready to fire them up and get out on the track. Just got to wait for NASCAR to give them the thumbs up. From Richmond Raceway, this is the Motor Racing Network, the voice of NASCAR.
Every time the siren sounds or lights flash, someone's life is on the line. At Wheelan Engineering, we know first responders carry that weight every day. That's why for over 70 years, we've led the emergency warning industry, designing and manufacturing the lights, sirens, and safety systems they trust right here in America. Because when the mission is critical, there's no room for second best. Wheelan Engineering, trusted to protect first responders.
Hello?
Hey, it's your man tank again. I just talked to the taste buds. We're all worried about you, Tim.
What do you mean? I love eating veggies. The crunch, I've never felt better.
You sure?
I think so.
You're really sure?
Yeah, man. Seriously.
You're not doing this to me, Tim. You're doing this to us. Just rip open some jerky, all right? Jack Link's Beef Jerky. Official meat snack of NASCAR. Feed your wild side.
We welcome you back to Richmond Raceway as we get set to put the Group 2 cars on the racetrack. Group 2 drivers getting set to go. They will be Chase Elliott, Carson Hocevar will be in Group 2, Denny Hamlin, Alex Bowman, Austin Cindric, Eric Jones, Joey Logano, Daniel Suarez, A.J. Allmendinger, and Ryan Preece.
Ross Chastain's in this group, along with Bubba Wallace, Tyler Reddick, Shane Van Gisbergen, Ryan Blaney, Chase Briscoe, Chris Buescher, William Byron, and Christopher Bell. Interesting to note the heavy hitters that are in this Group 2, including all of the Trackhouse Racing cars who finished in the top 10 last weekend at Watkins Glen for the first time ever in that operation's history.
Now we need to warn you, if your favorite driver is in this Group 2, Todd, and they don't rocket to the top of the leaderboard, that doesn't necessarily mean they don't have a good race car.
The track's got a lot of rubber on it from this first practice, so the fast lap of the fire-off is not going to be there for this group. If somebody gets to the top in this session, they're really good.
Right now, we're waiting for those Group 2 cars to get the clearance to go onto the racetrack. Once they conclude their 25 minutes of practice, it'll be one lap and one lap only of qualifying to determine the starting lineup for tomorrow night's Cookout 400. From Richmond Raceway, this is the Motor Racing Network, the voice of NASCAR.
Hi, folks. Kyle Petty here. Victory Junction is celebrating 20 incredible years of camp for children with serious medical conditions. As we look ahead, we're gearing up for even more unforgettable experiences. Victory Junction provides joy year-round. Whether you know a child who would benefit from coming to a camp, or you're looking to make a difference as a volunteer or staff member, Victory Junction is for you. Discover how you can get involved at victoryjunction.org.
Podcast platforms and MRN.com.
Want to know the latest with short track racing around the country? Well, one show has you covered, NASCAR Coast to Coast. Hi, I'm Chris Wilner. Join me each week as we break down the biggest headlines in grassroots racing and in NASCAR's regional and touring series. We'll also talk with rising stars from your favorite short track. Once again, it's NASCAR Coast to Coast, and you can watch or listen today on YouTube, Facebook, MRN.com, or on your favorite podcast platform.
Back at Richmond Raceway, getting ready for Group 2 practice, leading into what will be a two-lap effort for drivers on the racetrack. So they get the one lap, and then we'll see where they are. And most of the time, that second lap is quicker. However, that may not be the case today.
No, it might not be. And the big question then becomes, Todd, do you want to put your second qualifying lap on there? Because this set of qualifying tires transfers to the race.
If you think you can get it in one, you don't think you're going to get better. I think you may see some guys that call it off after one. You may see some guys that, if they feel like they can't quite get the temperature, that go easy on one lap and try to put it all in a second lap. Well, there's different things that different drivers could do.
Don't forget, later tonight, NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series racing coming your way on the NASCAR Racing Network. The Aero 250, the regular season finale for the tough trucks of NASCAR. p.m. Eastern Time, our airtime here from the Commonwealth. And then tomorrow, we're back at 6:30 Eastern, NASCAR Live Race Day on the air for the Cookout 400. Once we get matters buttoned up here at Richmond, then it's off to Daytona International Speedway next weekend for the regular season finale for the NASCAR Cup Series before the playoffs begin the following weekend at the Darlington Raceway.
Kyle Busch was the fastest in not only single lap speed, Steve Post, but the long average as well.
Yes, indeed. Let's ask Kyle about it. Fastest single lap, faster on the long laps. How did it feel from the driver's seat?
Yeah, really good. Unloaded, good comfort, good pace through the middle of the corner, and felt like a little remembrance of what's good here at Richmond. So that was good with our Rebel Chevrolet, and we just got to work on the long run. We were good on the long run pace you were talking about there, but it doesn't feel that good. So 20 laps, 30 laps, that's a whole hell of a lot different story than having to go 70. So a little bit of work to do there for us, but good stuff so far.
We saw a steering wheel change, a rare steering wheel change. What did you need? What was the call on that?
Just a lot happening. A lot of tiny little corrections that need to be happening here with as much as you're wheeling the cars around here and as loose as they can be at any particular moment. So just trying to be a little bit faster, being able to catch up a little bit quicker to some of those corrections, and hopefully that'll help us all night tomorrow night.
We shall see what happens. Kyle Busch getting ready to qualify, the fastest in that first group of practice.
Kyle Busch, Richard Childress Racing, fast here last year, along with Austin Dillon. There's a lot of optimism out of that camp. Again, if Kyle Busch wins tomorrow night, he's in the playoffs, and that will make the playoff picture very, very interesting. When you look at what Kyle Busch has been able to accomplish here at Richmond Raceway, he obviously is an accomplished short track racer. He's run on short tracks all across the country. He has 16 career short tracks. But Alex, he doesn't have a short track win since Bristol in April of 2019.
No time like the present to knock that streak off and start a new one in race winning short tracks. We'll find out what happens tomorrow night in the Cookout 400. Chris Wilner's caught up with another driver who just came off the track.
Well, it's actually Todd Gibbs' crew chief, Tyler Allen, so we're going to get a crew chief's perspective. 25 minutes goes by in a hurry. You guys opted to go out there for pretty much the entire run. What did you learn in 57 laps about the life of the tire? And it feels like the car looked like it was pretty good at the end.
Yeah, it was really good. We've really focused all week on having him manage his tires. So we wanted to make a long run and see if they held on with this new soft compound. So tires look good. The lap times look good at the end of the run, and I think the driver's pretty happy with the car.
What is something that you tell Ty to do behind the wheel, just with the tools that he has over the course of a run? Because I can't imagine it was pretty much of a little bit of a hang-on to there at the end.
Yeah, you just got to focus on your inputs and being really smooth with the pedals and the steering wheel to make the tires last.
Awesome. That's Tyler Allen. Again, crew chief for Ty Gibbs. Very happy on the long run speed of that Toyota.
Ty Gibbs looking to get career win number 1 of the NASCAR Cup Series. He's another driver that's below the cut line, 19th overall in the playoff standings, 125 points below the cut. If he wins tomorrow night, he's into the 2025 playoffs. From Richmond Raceway, this is the Motor Racing Network, the voice of NASCAR.
The voice of NASCAR.
The green flag is in the air, and we are underway. The Great American Race.
The Motor Racing Network. NASCAR Cup, Xfinity, and Craftsman Truck Series Racing live on your hometown radio station and MRN or NASCAR.com. Martinsville, Talladega, the Chicago Street Course. We have the side-by-side action and last lap passes for the win.
Photo finishes. Ryan Blaney will win.
The voice of NASCAR, the Motor Racing Network.
Are you ready for sights, sounds, and speed that'll shake you to your core? To see NASCAR stars like Ryan Blaney, Chase Elliott, Bubba Wallace, Denny Hamlin, and Ross Chastain attack the asphalt? Are you ready to make memories that'll last a lifetime? Yeah? You're ready. Then we got one more question. What are you waiting for? To experience the thrill of a NASCAR race in person, visit NASCAR.com/tickets.
About 1 minute away from Group 2 cars pulling onto the racetrack. They're about to get their 25 minutes of practice for the Cookout 400 here at Richmond.
Of course, once we wrap up here at Richmond Raceway this weekend, we're off to the World Center of Racing down on the Space Coast, Daytona Beach, Florida. So we get set for the regular season finale for the NASCAR Cup Series. But it's not too soon if you want to be a part of the action. Get your tickets to join us in person, and heck, grab your Daytona 50/50 tickets to support VetTix at Daytona5050.com. You can be our next big cash prize winner. Must be over 18 and in the state of Florida at the time of purchase to play.
Well, the racetrack is open. Group 2 cars pulling very gently onto the racing surface, led by William Byron. He leads the point standings right now, and he stands to be the regular season champion. What comes along with that? A 15-point bonus to kick off the playoffs. Chase Elliott's on the racetrack. So is Alex Bowman, Denny Hamlin, Christopher Bell. Chase Briscoe was pulled out onto the racetrack. Ryan Blaney, Alex, and others are pulling onto the surface as well.
Yeah, they are. Those Hendrick cars you mentioned right off the top are already at speed. Didn't take them long at all. Denny Hamlin, on the other hand, Todd, he's just kind of puttering along down around the bottom side of the racetrack, getting passed by just about everybody. He's done one full lap at a very slow pace.
And we saw this out of Brad Keselowski in the first practice, too. I think a couple of these old veterans just trying to make sure the brakes come up to temperature the way they need to. Brake vibrations are something that people fight here, and sometimes it's from how you get the pad to kind of transfer to the rotor. Might be just trying to build that rotor temperature a little differently. Now he's up to speed.
How long does it take to get everything up to temperature that you want? 2, 3, 4 laps?
I would think a couple of laps will get the thermal kind of going there, especially if you're dragging brake while you're making those. That kind of helps it up. Depends on how much brake usage you've got.
But Denny Hamlin is up to speed. Ryan Preece did the same thing. A good lap and a half for Ryan Preece. You could see him giving it gas and then nose diving it, as we say, as you stand on the brakes. He did that for a full lap and a half.
Denny Hamlin has just turned in the third fastest lap in that Progressive Toyota. 22.899 seconds, 117.909. That puts him behind Kyle Busch and John Hunter Nemechek. The next fastest car is Christopher Bell, also a Joe Gibbs Racing car, 14th overall. And Alex, we've seen in this practice today, the first, second, or maybe even the third lap is the quickest. And right now, Group 2 does not have what Group 1 had early on.
No, but that lap that Denny Hamlin put down is pretty stout. What he was able to do with Todd mentioned a moment ago, the track being rubbered up from the Group 1 25-minute practice, that in my eyes is a legit solid lap for Denny Hamlin. And why would we think anything less with Denny here at his home track at Richmond? 6 finishes, either first or second in the last 8 Richmond races, including those 2 wins. So Denny Hamlin just knows this racetrack. He knows how to get around it. But, boy, he's real slow again in the middle of 3 and 4, Todd.
I think he's trying to get some separation back from Ryan Blaney. He had gotten to the point he was kind of in the wake. Wants to go back and see what his car's got. If you got that much speed, maybe he plans on leading this whole race. Put himself in clean air, see what the balance is.
Let the last couple of races for the Denny Hamlin, obviously, situation, 24th and 25th in the last two. A trip to the Richmond Raceway and victory lane could indeed be just what the doctor ordered for the native of nearby Chesterfield, Virginia.
Yeah, he's out there right now. He has found some clean racetrack. Even though this is just half cars out there here in Group 2, it's a busy racetrack out there, and it's important to try to find some clean racetrack to understand what your car is going to do. But, Todd, I guess it wouldn't hurt to be in some traffic either. You're going to be in it all race long tomorrow night.
Yeah, I think he just wants to sort out where he is these first 10 laps. But, yes, I would always encourage my driver to be in traffic. I wanted to get our balance right in dirty air so that they could pass cars. I figured a driver could figure it out once he got to clean air, how much better his race car was.
Right now on the racetrack, Denny Hamlin is the fastest of the Group 2 cars. Christopher Bell continues to be the second in those Group 2 automobiles. How about Carson Hocevar, Bubba Wallace, Tyler Reddick? They're in the grouping as well with Daniel Suarez, Ryan Blaney, Ross Chastain. That's how they shake up. Again, Denny is the more superior of the ones in Group 2 at the moment. He's third overall, Alex, while everybody else is at least 14th on back.
Yeah, they are, and they have already run 5 consecutive laps here in this Group 2, and none of those drivers have popped up in the top 5 in the 5-lap average. And again, that's just because of track conditions, what this Group 2 group has right now compared to the others. You know, Todd, let's go a little bit deeper, if you will, and pardon the pun on this, with the rubber that gets put down in the pores and in the aggregate of the asphalt. There are some tracks, and I think concrete tracks, like a Dover Motor Speedway, for instance, where the rubber really gets laid down. But when you slow the pace down, the hot, sticky tires pull that rubber back up. Do we have that same type of scenario here at Richmond?
You've got some of it, but not as much of it here because the pores are deeper. I think the fact that you can get rubber down into the racetrack farther, where a concrete surface, it's going to be right on top of the surface, not down into it. If you look at the aggregate here, it's pretty coarse. It's got, they're quarter-inch stones, and you can get rubber down into those holes, and the only time that you're trying to get down into that is when these tires have got maximum load on them. Under caution, it skips over the tops of the stones. So it doesn't pick up the rubber as cleanly as it does at a concrete racetrack like Dover.
One of the things that I noticed when I came to the broadcast booth and I looked down on the racetrack, it seemed like it has aged even since we were here 1 year ago. The racetrack is basically brown, and that means it really bakes in the hot summer months of Virginia, but it goes through the freeze and the thaw of the winter months, and that creates that aging process. It almost reminds me of Darlington when we go down to South Carolina. I think the fall off, is more so here than at Darlington, or at least it's on par for how Darlington goes through those tires.
Yeah, when we look at these racetracks, I would say, if you look at what's the most aggressive tire wear racetracks that we have, Darlington, Homestead, Richmond falls in that category. And this is, of all the short tracks, I think this becomes a strategy race. Short pitting somebody here and putting tires on gets you a huge advantage, but you're going to pay the penalty on the long run. And where these guys are, crew chiefs are going to have their hands full. Like we talked about, the tire quantities are limited. There's not a lot of movement there, but you can be aggressive at certain times and make some track position.
Steve Post, when the race goes green in the Cookout 400 tomorrow night, you and Chris Wellner, you guys better have yourself a full notebook, because you're going to be making a lot of notes through tomorrow night's race with all these strategies.
I'll tell you what, I love these strategy races as well, and really do. But one of the things I add to it is just a tire count. I use that here and use it at Darlington, and we'll check off all the tires, the 8 sets of new ones, but also have a little note there should they decide to use the qualifying set in a situation, and it really, truly is. And then to see who's on what strategy and how do they even, if they split the stage in 2 stops, do they short pit one of those, or do they go long with it? It is just fascinating from down here on pit road. And as you get to know the crew chiefs, trying to find who the gamblers are, who are the ones maybe holding a set of tires for the end. These are just fascinating races here to see the ebbs and flows, and of course the athletes that pit these cars, it's amazing what they do as well, and they're going to get their workout.
As we watch these cars in Group 2 continue on, Kyle Busch overall still the fastest single lap speed. John Hunter Nemechek second. Denny Hamlin here in Group 2 is third. Then Noah Gregson and Corey Heim are the 5 total in single lap speeds. As a matter of fact, why don't we run you down the board on single lap speeds and let you know where your favorite driver checks in so far now that everybody's had good practice. In 6th right now is Kyle Larson. Ty Dillon is 7th. 8th is Justin Haley. 9th is Cole Custer. And 10th is Riley Herbst.
Austin Dillon is 11th. Michael McDowell is 12th. Todd Gilliland is 13th. Christopher Bell is 14th. And Carson Hocevar is 15th. Bubba Wallace is 16th. Tyler Reddick is 17th. Jesse Love is 18th. Daniel Suarez 19th. And Ryan Blaney is 20th.
21st is Ross Chastain. 22nd, Chris Buescher. 23rd is William Byron. 24th is Chase Briscoe. Brad Keselowski is 25th. Austin Cindric 26th. Eric Jones 27th. And Ty Gibbs is 28th. Chase Elliott is 29th as we go to the right side of the computer screen, which is typically the side you don't want to be on. Chase Elliott is 29th. Alex Bowman is 30th.
A.J. Allmendinger is 31st. Shane Van Gisbergen is 32nd. Cody Ware is 33rd. Josh Berry 34th. Zane Smith is 35th. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. is 36th. Ryan Preece is 37th. And Joey Logano is in the last and finishing position. And Joey's got a problem on the racetrack right now. He's got a flat left front, a lot of smoke out of the Shell Pennzoil Ford Mustang, and that will bring out the red flag here in Group 2. We're going to have to wait and see what NASCAR TV shows us. But Joey Logano having a problem coming out of turn number 4. It looks like he hit the wall. Chris, what's the problem?
Yeah, and that's exactly right. They're going over the pictures right now, trying to talk to Joey to see what exactly happened. But Joey was complaining of a massive push through the center of the corner, said it wouldn't turn, and then ultimately blew that tire that ended up into the wall. So Joey's going to try to bring it back down pit road. Paul Wolf over the radio now trying to get over a game plan, but massive contact with that right front part of his Ford Mustang for Joey Logano. And you just mentioned it was pretty much almost dead last on the speed chart, complaining of a massive push in the center of the corner. So that car wasn't turning until, well, now unfortunately the tire blew and certainly shot him up into the wall. So they're going to have some deciding to do here as far as what the damage looks like for Joey Logano, but certainly that cut tire contributed to that.
Looked like a right front tire went down. Don't know if he ran something over or whether it just was losing what was going on there, but looked like the right front went down, and he just, when you got that getting into the corner here, you don't have anything to lean on. It went straight up the wall and made pretty decent contact with the right front there. I would want to put a lot of eyeballs all over the suspension of that right front.
Joey Logano dead last in single lap speeds, to Chris Wilner's point about the car just being super tight, not turning, scrubbing those front tires lap after lap. Boy, it shows up on the timing and scoring. Now, one thing that caught my eye, Josh Berry, he is 34th in single lap speeds. But on his 41st consecutive lap, he ran a 25.244 second lap. That's about 0.6 of a second faster from some of the other drivers out there. Josh Berry's got a pretty good long-distance car.
And this is a really good short-track racer. When you look at Josh Berry and think about what he does, he's really good at tire management. One of those guys that came out of the late model ranks and did a great job of it. I would look. It's interesting because I don't think that the speed charts will tell you who's good and who's not. I think he could be a factor.
Josh Berry running well earlier this year, winning at Las Vegas. He is one of the drivers that is already qualified to run for the playoffs here in 2025. Of course, we're under the red flag right now. Joey Logano has brought the car back to the pit lane, and the crew is giving it a once-over right now. Going to see what kind of damage there is because, as Todd mentioned, when that right front let go, it dropped down onto the racetrack, and he just made a beeline right into the safety barrier.
Now, the big question becomes for this group that is Group 2, we still got quite a bit of time here in the session. So the big question now with this red flag from the Joey Logano crash, everybody's tires are going to cool down. How is this going to change the tire, and will this completely upset the apple cart and what these teams are trying to accomplish?
It definitely brings a lot of question marks into it because now you've got a heat cycle in your tires, and you don't know whether the trend of what you're going to get from here forward is because the tires got a chance to cool back down or whether it's where we're going. The one piece you can look at the end is how much wear you've gotten, and that's just how many laps you've run and how deep the wear is, and kind of extrapolate that out to what you can run through the stages. But it does make a question mark. You hope that you had somebody in the first practice that could go the whole run straight.
I'm pretty surprised that Denny Hamlin is the only driver out of Group 2 that's been able to crack the top 5. I thought we would have had some others, but they've not done that. Why do you think that's the case?
Well, because the racetrack's not as fast. I told you when I was talking with Alex earlier, if somebody goes to the top of the board here, they're really good. Denny Hamlin's really good. I mean, when you look at it, Denny Hamlin is P3. The next best out of this group is P14. He's actually making speed on a rubbered-up racetrack. That speaks a lot. But we shouldn't be surprised. Last three finishes here, second, first, and second.
Denny Hamlin is on the pit lane while the track goes back green. A handful of drivers are out on the track, including Ryan Preece, Chase Elliott. Eric Jones is on the racetrack, as well as Carson Hocevar. As we continue on in the Group 2 practice from Richmond Raceway, this is the Motor Racing Network, the voice of NASCAR.
You've never been one to idly watch someone else do something for you. There's pride in self-reliance, in working with your hands, in harnessing the power of an E3 spark plug with Diamond Fire technology, yielding better engine performance. You have a choice to make. Take control of your ride, of your life, or be the passenger princess of it. Visit e3sparkplugs.com to put the power in your hands.
Do you have $10,000 or more in credit card debt? Are you barely getting by making minimum payments? With credit card debt reaching all-time highs, National Debt Relief is letting everyone know about great debt relief options now available to help people with overwhelming credit card debt. These options may reduce a large portion of your credit card debt. Get a free debt relief consultation when you call 800-212-2828. 800-212-2828. That's 800-212-2828.
Back here at Richmond Raceway, Group 2 practice, back under the green flag, and the track is very busy yet again, except Chris Wilner, Joey Logano. What's the plan going on after the contact with the wall?
Well, unfortunately for Joey Logano, it's a little bit more severe than maybe what had been originally anticipated for the driver of the Pennzoil Ford Mustang. He pulled his car down to pit road after contact with the wall after blowing the right front tire. The team has now gone through during that red flag and discovered that not only the front but also the rear toe links are bent aboard that Mustang. So the plan right now is going to try to thrash, fix what they can, and potentially get him out there to at least try to make a qualifying lap. But Todd Gordon, I'll ask you, I don't know if 10 minutes after this session's over going to be enough with both toe links bent if you're going to have time to get a qualifying lap in or maybe possibly miss an opportunity.
Well, we'll see where that plays out. The good part for them is Group 1 cars will qualify first. They've got time to make changes. They'll use this practice up in the few minutes we've got left, almost 13 minutes, and they'll have the kind of change period that you would have before they have to get in line. So they've got 25 minutes or so anyway that before they've got to be in line. I'm sure that Paul Wolf has that group all buttoned up and in a position where they know what they've got to get done.
Let's check in on a couple of other Ford teams. Chris Buescher, 22nd on the leaderboard. Ryan Preece, 37th on the leaderboard. Posty?
Listening to the radio and hearing those numbers are two different things, and I think it's something Todd Gordon has talked about. Let's not be misled by raw speed. Listening to Chris Buescher, he talked about the balance is really, really good. He likes the pace of the race car. Him and Billy Scott, the crew chief on this one, he is actually using the
So we've lost access to the Cup practice commentary at the moment. MRN has actually gone down. The server has failed. So while we wait for that to come back, we've still got a couple of information bits about Joey Logano and that failure that we heard him have a few moments ago. We are gearing up, hopefully, to get something back operational. We understand that it's a technical issue trackside, so we'll have our normal commentary team back with you shortly as we prepare for the qualifying format to get underway here as well. Now we're just checking our backup systems to see if we can bring that in elsewhere, so we're not completely out of the woods yet. Still live at top of the moment, Kyle Busch getting the top honours out there as things stand. Let's check in to see if we've got it on our iPad system.
Richmond is notorious for long green flag runs. These drivers are going to be screaming for tires after 20 and 25 laps tomorrow night, I would think. I mean, they want 4 fresh Goodyear Eagles anytime you have a chance to give them. We may get into a situation where we've got that long run tomorrow night where they've got to preserve them.
Yeah, we definitely will. And I'm sure that drivers would love to have tires every 20 laps. Unfortunately, their crew chiefs don't have allotments to do that. So as you look at this forward, they're going to have to run 50 laps on tires. They're going to be slip-sliding around. I think we will continue. And this is something you see here at Richmond. As you get into these longer green flag runs, especially as the track takes more rubber, you'll start to see guys exit turn 4 and they'll exit the racetrack. They'll be down a groove and a half off the wall just to be down on the racetrack that doesn't have rubber in it. Try to find some grip down there.
It's just part of what you have to do here at Richmond Raceway to continue to try to make speed, put yourself in the best shot in today's session to try to win pole position, but for tomorrow night in the Cookout 400 to try to get yourself to victory lane, just like William Byron did in the Daytona 500 and at Iowa Speedway. Let's hear from Chris Wilner on William Byron.
This is now the second time Alex William Byron has brought the Liberty University Chevrolet to the attention of Rudy Fugle and the crew. Under that first red flag after Joey Logano hit the wall, they made significant changes because he felt the rear was wobbling all over the place on corner entry. That has been fixed. What hasn't been has been a slight vibration that developed after we went back under the green flag, saying I had no lateral grip. They brought the car down. They changed tires as well, as the right side tires were completely worn out. Rudy Fugle said, don't go too hard here. Let's just see if we solve the vibration. But certainly an ill-handling car for William Byron in this practice session.
So Chris just dropped a turn there. Lateral grip. Crew chief, for the newbie that's listening to us right now, what does that mean?
It's what gets you around the corner. So it's the car. If you think about driving in the corner, if you don't have lateral grip, it's like you're on ice. You're just sliding the car. That lateral, when he talks about wanting lateral grip, the tires to grab the racetrack and actually carve him around that corner and not let it slide up the racetrack.
And that's part of the key and challenge of racing here at Richmond Raceway. Of course, the forward grip is the bite you get with the rack tires up off of turn 2 for the launch down the backstretch. Same here up off of turn number 4. Like Todd mentioned a moment ago, some of these drivers are going way down below to the bottom lane just to trying to find extra grip.
Yeah, you're talking about finding grip. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. talked to him earlier today. He says that it's so bad here at Richmond that it feels like you're going to spin out at the start-finish line. When you come off the corner and you get that launch up onto the straightaway, you're even loose on the straightaway here at Richmond.
And I'm going to say that's so good, not so bad. Because that makes a better show for us. I think you get to see these drivers really manhandle their way through it. And the patience of good drivers being rewarded with longevity here.
In your career, Todd, did you enjoy racing these types of races and these types of practice sessions where you really had to psychologically manage your driver and your team for what lies ahead?
I love these racetracks. I loved them because it meant, as you talked about earlier, we'll have 8 sets of stickers. I plan on using every set of them, which means my pit crew is going to have 8 or 9 shots at showing their prowess. I got a chance to call races. I could make a difference on how I called strategy. Short pitting guys, opportunities to do that. Drivers working on, I remember being at these places and saying, okay, I need you to run 90%, 90%, 90%, and be like, but I'm not going fast. And then at lap 25, it's like, I got it. I'm getting the reward of not beating my tires up early. There's more than just go all out fast. You've got to manage the race.
Again, we mentioned last year we had 2 options of tires. You had the yellows and the reds. We're racing on the reds. No options this weekend. This is what we have the entire time. And it would appear that we've accomplished the mission of having these tires wear and really put the racing back into the driver's hands.
Well, we heard Chris Wilner talk about Rudy Fugle telling William Byron, the red sides are about wore out. Don't go really hard here. This is something that we want to see. Now they're going to have to go 70 laps in this set to start the race tomorrow, or they're going to need to pit under green in that first stage, and they're going to put themselves up behind a set of tires. So these are all the things that management happens, and you've got to learn these things in practice.
The other thing I'm seeing in practice is a lot of passing ongoing. There are drivers that are going to the bottom and passing other cars, going to the top side and working the way around the long way around Richmond Raceway. To the point being, Mike, there's a knot of race cars here on the track right now off turn 2. They're mixing it up out there. I don't know if they would like to be by themselves out there, but fact of the matter is, you got some cars that are passing with no problem at all.
Well, the fact of the matter is they're not going to get any faster right now. They're out there just trying to get laps and just trying to see what they have in the long term. That knot of cars that Alex had described a moment ago, it's led by Chase Briscoe. He's got John Hunter Nemeth, made that Eric Jones behind him. Bubba Wallace, Tyler Reddick is in it, Chris Buescher's in it, so is Daniel Suarez, and it looks to be one other car, Shane Van Gisbergen as well. Here comes Eric Jones, bottom of the racetrack as Briscoe slides wide, and they look like they're not, but they almost look like they're under caution right now, that they're going so slow in the middle of the corner.
So we see this, and you talk about it, Eric Jones has 12 laps less on his tires than Chase Briscoe does. That's why he looks so good. Tyler Reddick back here, he's got 10 laps less than Bubba Wallace, who he's tracking down right now. You can see what 10 laps of tire makes a difference. Tyler Reddick's wrapping the bottom. I think he's gonna be side by side with Bubba. He'll make easy use of him down there in turn 1.
He does, and he does that headed into the corner right now. But Chase Briscoe's car is there. Reddick's gonna 3 wide in practice. Why not? Let's go ahead and do it. Those 3 Toyotas. Bubba elects from the outside lane to roll out of the throttle and get out of that mess. You know, a lot of times we see tires that have a lot of time drop at some point just basically plateau, and you're not going to drop any further. I've been watching lap times from Group 1 and especially here in Group 2, Todd. The longer they go, the slower they get. Yeah, there's no flat line, if you will.
So we see that at places like Darlington and Homestead, where you can ease yourself and snug yourself up right against the wall, and then all that lateral grip you talk about is just air pressure between you and the wall, so you're not beating the tires up. You get to the point where the air is doing the work for you, and that's where it plateaus. A place like here at Richmond, it's only going to get worse and worse and worse.
To touch back to what we were talking about Group 1, we talked about how Kyle Busch fell off 14 miles an hour. Kyle Larson was 13 miles an hour. Last lap through, Denny Hamlin fell off 11 miles an hour, now 12 miles an hour this time through. And it would look like, to our point earlier, Denny is a master of working on old racetracks, conserving his tires, preserving those tires for later in the run. It's not the first time we've seen him do it here. Denny Hamlin is a master at doing that, and even though he's third on the leaderboard, he has to make the short list tomorrow night for consideration to win this race.
I think so, and I'm going to go in a different direction based off of what I've watched here in practice. Another driver that has raised my eyebrows, I don't know why, I should expect it, is a driver who's finished 14th or better in all 3 of his Richmond Cup Series starts with a career best of 2nd. And that was back in April of 2023, which is his best career short track finish in the Cup Series. And that is the driver from the Wood Brothers and Josh Berry. I liked what I see out of their race car. Single lap speed, are they going to be a threat for the pole? Maybe not based off of what we saw, but they're going to be a threat for the race win.
And sometimes, there's a switch to be turned. You may be, as I talked about earlier, you might be running 90% on the front side to get that backside reward. When I talk about that, not using up the tires for that fast lap to start with, but then having the good of the tire lap 20. Josh Berry may be able to go get that speed in qualifying. Let's see what happens when we get to it. But I agree with you. He's done a great job with his 21 car. Euro blue colors on that car look really good. I think his lap times look good. Denny Hamlin looks really, really impressive.
I'm watching Eric Jones on the racetrack right now, watching Tyler Reddick as well. They're having their own little private battle. They've left Chase Briscoe by a straightaway. Bubba Wallace and SVG as well. But, Alice, we're watching Eric Jones basically take it to the safer barrier in turns 3 and 4.
Yeah, he is. And he's just sailing on the corner and drifts up the racetrack, and eventually it's thinking it's going to find some grip and catch, and it's working because he's making it hang on up there with Tyler Reddick, who's been down to his left elbow lap after lap. Finally, Eric Jones is able to try to get away from Tyler Reddick.
And when you say the top, like he's above the top dotted line up there against the wall, really ripping a lot of speed around here. This is something that I've watched like Ricky Stenhouse do in the past. He's done a really good job of it, but he's actually Like right now, left side's on that top dotted line. There's 3 dotted lines through there. He's all the way to the top, really wrapping the top.
And the dotted lines we're speaking of, these are lines like when you drive down the interstate, and that's what separates one lane from another. Well, they're separated here at Richmond. You have basically, look out, trouble, turn 4, Carson Hocevar's around. He went to apply the power to the car, and the back end stepped out from underneath him. Carson will spin the car to the bottom of the racetrack, and that red flag that comes out because of that spin happens with Alex 52 seconds left in this practice session, and now the black flag is flying as well, and we're done with Group 2.
Yeah, we are. Joey Aycock with the black flag waving in his right hand, the red flag waving in his left hand. Practice for the Cookout 400 is over now. Next thing to do is qualify. Find out who's going to start the Cookout 400 in what position. We'll have that for you when we come back. From Richmond Raceway, this is the Motor Racing Network, the voice of NASCAR.
Every time the siren sounds or lights flash, someone's life is on the line. At Whelen Engineering, we know first responders carry that weight every day. That's why for over 70 years, we've led the emergency warning industry, designing and manufacturing the lights, sirens, and safety systems they trust right here in America. Because when the mission is critical, there's no room for second best. Whelen Engineering, trusted to protect first responders.
Hello?
Hey, it's your man Tank. Watching you hold back tears swallowing that celery stick. It's a hard sight to see, Tim.
I'm almost done. Just let me get this down.
Stop it, man. Seriously. We don't have to do this to us.
You're right. I hate veggies so much. How can I be more like you?
Hey, buddy, I am you. Just full of meat. Jack Link's Beef Jerky. Official meat snack of NASCAR. Feed your wild side.
Back here at Richmond Raceway, practice has wrapped up and all the cars have made their way back to the pit lane. Let's go there now, Steve Post.
We just ended that practice with Carson Hocevar getting the Ziegler car the wrong way around and listening to the radio afterward. He's just frustrated with the car. He said it just feels like we're not in the racetrack at all. The car is tight when he goes down in the corner, and then it just snaps loose. He said, I've tried everything. I've tried downshifting. I've tried different angles, and the car is just not connected. He said it's not connected left to right, and it's not connected also tight and loose. So they've got a handful, and it showed right there at the end as he swapped ends. The good news is no damage on the race car. Watching the crew members right now, they're just all looking up under the race car, looking under the hood, make sure there's nothing that they missed as far as that goes. So he kept out of hooking into something solid here, but right now the ill handling nature of this race car is what is of most concern for Carson Hocevar.
You know, given the description that Posty just gave on the Carson Hocevar situation, knowing what we've seen on the racetrack, this probably has not been the most comfortable practice session for these Cup drivers.
No, and that's, I think, what makes it good. You want everybody to be uncomfortable and get out of what we call the norm.
If we go to the go-kart track and we can all run wide open around the go-kart track, nobody passes anybody and no talent's shown. No, we don't have that here. You're going to have to pedal your race car. You're going to have to manage your tires. This is the type of stuff that gets our drivers to show their talent. I think it's going to be great. I'm looking forward to what we got tomorrow night.
Well, if the MRN crew goes to the go-kart track, you got to watch out for this one. Alex Hayden in the middle, he'll dump you in a heartbeat. He's done it to me over the years.
If you're in the way, you're in the way.
Got to go, you got to go, right?
I mean, there's a trophy out there to be won, and maybe a bragging right or two.
Coming up, qualifying for the Cookout 400 from Richmond Raceway. This is the Motor Racing Network, the voice of NASCAR.
80 million listeners depend on AM radio to always be on, delivering news, sports, talk, traffic, and weather reports you can trust. AM radio also delivers vital emergency information when you need it most. Text AM to 39179. Tell Congress to pass the AM Radio for Every Vehicle Act to keep AM radio in cars.
Message and data rates may apply. You may receive up to 4 messages a month, and you may text STOP to stop.
This message furnished by the National Association of Broadcasters.
Welcome to more.
Green flag is in the air.
More action. More awesome. More smoke. More sizzle. More soar. More roar. More family. Welcome to the one place where no matter who you are, you'll leave with something you'll never forget. Welcome to NASCAR.
Back at Richmond Raceway right now on the pit lane, those drivers and teams that have already made the adjustments to their cars that they need to make are pushing them to the grid. We'll be qualifying here in a few moments, and we'll be able to see who is going to start on the front row, start on the pole for tomorrow night's Cookout 400. Again, Motor Racing Network will be on the air at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time tomorrow night. Be sure to join us in what will be the 5th short track race of the 2025 NASCAR Cup Series season.
As we get set for qualifying, the teams are pushing the race cars up to the exit of pit road, single file lane. They'll go out in order based off of the metric system, and everybody's getting their opportunity to get focused for qualifying. Back to Chris Wilner.
Here in the Joe Gibbs Racing Camp, speaking with Chris Gabehart, competition director. Okay, you've had all 4 of your cars out there. Ty Gibbs was the first. What's the biggest thing that surprised you over the course of how these tires have behaved in this practice session?
I mean, there's no surprises here at Richmond. You kind of know what to expect. There's going to start off good. There's going to be a lot of fall off. There is more right side tire wear, which is good. I think it will create some management issues for tomorrow night, but once the track does cool off tomorrow night, some of that will get better. But with the tire allotment the way they have us here, it's going to be a bit of a coin flip. I think with a severe right side tire wear, you may need to be looking at another set. But overall, no surprises. I think in general our cars were decent.
I know these cars are a handful at the end of the course of a long run, but what's your message to your drivers, especially now going to qualifying mode where it's all about one lap?
Yeah, I mean, it's 2 totally different things, that's for sure. But the tendencies of Richmond are still the tendencies. You can very easily overdrive it. It's hard to underdrive it in a lot of ways. So even though the tires will be clean and the cars will be in qualifying trim, you still got to be respectful of this place or you're going to end up with a bad lap.
Appreciate your time. Chris Gabehart, he's got the iPad. He's been bouncing back and forth between the 4 cars here for the Joe Gibbs Racing stable, taking in all the data. Now they're going to try to apply it here to qualifying, and then, of course, the race tomorrow.
And be sure to tune in to Crew Call this week on Wednesday. Chris Gabehart will be joining Steve Post and Todd Gordon. Speaking of Postman, let's get the thought with Brad Keselowski.
Brad's down here getting ready to go out and qualify. Brad, this racetrack, of course, it's such a patient game, managing tires. How did you feel you did, and what are the challenges of it, of your race car right now?
Yeah, well, Goodyear brought a significantly different tire here this year, Postman, and we're all trying to figure that out. It's really, really struggling, the whole field is, to keep the tires on it. So be interesting to see how it plays out. And practice was our first real dose of that, and we'll see how the race goes. As a race car driver, how do you accept struggling less than anybody else? How do you manage that? Yeah, it's kind of like we suck, but everybody sucks. Like I want it less, but that's sometimes part of the fun. Part of the fun. Well, that's what we're going with. Part of the fun. That's Brad Keselowski. He'll be out qualifying here in this first group of automobiles.
You better embrace it as a driver, as a crew chief, as a crew member. You better embrace it, because if you have a negative thought in your mind when you come out here tomorrow for the Cookout 400, you're beat already. And embrace the chaos that I think we're going to see here in tomorrow's race.
Yeah. I like what he said about everybody sucks, we just suck less.
That's the whole thing. It's that's one of those pieces where I get when a driver complained about their car here, I'd start reading them lap times to the guy behind them or the guy in front of them, just so that they can understand, okay, I am a tenth and a half faster than that car. I complain about mine, but he must be complaining more and working forward. Steve Post got another driver down there.
Ricky Stenhouse Jr. down here getting ready to qualify his race car. Ricky, what did you learn about your race car in this worn-out old racetrack?
Yeah, it's definitely worn out and feel like, I don't know, it feels different than the Reds did last year. So a lot of tire fall off, and yeah, we'll see. I mean, the patches down here had a ton of grip, and they lasted really good. So we'll see. I think our long run pace was average, but we need to be able to qualify, start a little closer to the front. So we'll see.
Ricky Stenhouse Jr. ready to qualify here. He'll be in the latter part of this first group of race cars.
And we'll wait for the first car to go out on the track. It will be Corey Heim once NASCAR gives us the green light. From Richmond Raceway, this is the Motor Racing Network, the voice of NASCAR.
Do you have an unused car, truck, motorcycle, boat, or RV taking up space? Put it to good use by donating it to the NASCAR Foundation. Proceeds help fund medical resources for children in our racing community. Your wheels can heal. Call 844-NASCAR-9 and we'll come tow away your vehicle for free. The process is quick and your gift is tax deductible. Call 844-NASCAR-9 to donate your vehicle to the NASCAR Foundation today. Your donation will help our children survive and thrive.
The Tough Trucks of NASCAR, an exclusive podcast from the Motor Racing Network.
Ron Hornaday, green flag is in the air, and he will take the field quickly to turn 1.
Relive the moments of the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series from its debut in 1995.
Checkered flag in the air, Skinner wins with the inaugural for the NASCAR Truck Series by Craftsman.
The legends of the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series.
Todd Bodine wins 4 in a row on super speedways.
The Tough Trucks of NASCAR, available on podcast platforms and MRN.com.
Back here at Richmond Raceway, as the overwhelming majority of the cars have been lined up nose to tail. Right side of the cars up against the pit wall that separates the racing surface from pit lane, as we're getting closer and closer to putting the first car on the track for qualifying.
Well, we had one incident in practice, and that involved 3-time NASCAR Cup Series champion Joey Logano. Chris Wilmer's with him.
Yeah, Joey's looking over as the team works on his Ford Mustang. Joey, first off, the hit with the wall, the blown tire, was there any warning, or what was the product of that?
Yeah, I'm not really sure. Just the car was just tight to fire off, really slow. A little bit more so than just a normal tight. So it just seemed a little odd, and then it just blew out. Had enough. So I don't know if we can completely solve the mystery quite yet, but right now we're focused just trying to get out here to qualify.
And originally it looked like maybe there was a chance you weren't going to qualify. So I guess what is the damage? And looks like these guys have it buttoned up.
Yeah, it ain't pretty. It ain't fixed, I can tell you that much, but we need to make an attempt to qualify to try to transfer a set of tires. That's kind of the main reason here.
All right, that's Joey Logano. He's going to get back to it with his team, but again, they're putting in yeoman's work here on pit road, trying to get Joey at least an optimum here at Richmond.
And he says that the opportunity to transfer a set of tires, because as you go to the race, you get the 8 sets of stickers, one of which will start in your car, and the scuffs from qualifying. If you don't qualify, you don't get to transfer another set of stickers. So by getting this qualifying lap in, they can transfer that scuff set as well.
Anything to get a lap in, to get those tires to transfer with the limited set of tires that these teams have. Corey Heim on the track. His second lap is just up on the board. He'll wrap things up. His first lap was the fastest. Up next will be Jesse Love as we check back in with Steve Post.
Michael McDowell down here. He'll be in the latter part of this Group A cars. Michael, how do you as a race car driver manage one of these tracks where you maybe slow down a little bit early to try to go fast late? How do you manage that?
Yeah, it's tough. You're always trying to figure out that balance of, pushing the tire too hard and, not losing too much while, trying to make speed. But that actually fell off quite a bit for all of us in practice. Now it's the heat of the day, so tomorrow might get a little bit better. But if it falls off like that, it's going to be a really exciting race.
How was your race car overall on the long run? How'd you feel about it?
Yeah, long run speed was really good. Probably a top 3 car when it comes to that. Didn't fire off as fast as we needed to, but I think that's probably why it held on as good as it did. So, yeah, I'm hopeful that tomorrow night's a lot like today as far as the tire wear goes. I think we'll be in good shape with the workhorse Chevy if it's that way.
There we go, the one guy on the planet that wants huge tire fall off. That's Michael McDowell.
He will be the 18th driver to qualify for the Cookout 400. Jesse Love was just the second. 22.831. That's 118.260 miles an hour. That'll put him second of the 2. Corey Heim is that leading driver right now. Jesse Love just turned in his lap, waiting for Cole Custer to take to the racetrack. He'll be followed by Josh Berry, Cody Ware, Ty Dillon, John Hunter Nemechek, and Todd Gilliland.
The pole time and speed for this race 1 year ago, August of 2024. Denny Hamlin, by the way, had that. The pole time was 22.850 seconds. We're already faster than that with the first 2 cars. So these teams here have learned a little bit more about it, Todd.
Softer tire. We brought the option tire here. Last year's qualifying, you had to qualify on your primary tire, the yellow sidewall tire. This is the softer tire. It should be faster.
Right now, Cole Custer has gotten his Haas Ford Mustang buttoned up and at speed. He has just taken the green flag to begin his first lap of qualifying as he sails it off into turns 1 and 2. And again, Joey Logano made contact with the wall. They're trying to get out and trying to get a timed lap in. So as Todd mentioned, to be able to roll those qualifying scuffs over into the race. That's some good thinking right there from Paul Wolf. Here's Cole Custer out of turn number 4 to complete his first lap. He'll go to the top of the leaderboard. 22.577, 119.591 miles per hour.
Back to pit road and Chris Wilner.
Austin Dillon getting ready to qualify in his RCR Chevrolet. Austin, what was your big takeaways from that 25-minute session as you get ready to qualify?
Well, the balance was pretty good for the long run. We didn't take off real great, which is fine. I think we can adjust around that. Last year, we were a really good car in the long run, but man, today's so difficult because it's daylight out. Tomorrow it's going to be in the evening, so you're kind of guessing on what you need.
How hard is that to gauge where you want the car to run well at night, but we have to qualify during the day? So do you kind of set up for tomorrow, hoping to get as what you can out today, or how does that work?
We sure hope so. That's the plan. So we'll give it all we got and try and get back to where we were last year.
Stepping back in this place a year removed from the win, what were the feelings like coming back here, kind of knowing what you have to do these next couple weeks?
Yeah, I'm happy to be at a track that we've been able to get it done at. Hopefully that comes to fruition again.
Austin Dillon getting ready to qualify here in his RCR Chevrolet. We'll see what he can do here in just a few minutes.
Of course, he'll be joining us on NASCAR Live Race Day tomorrow, p.m. Eastern Time. I had a chance to visit with Austin earlier this week. There's a lot of confidence there. Number one in the speed of the race cars here, but between Richmond and Daytona next week, those are two tracks where he and his race team have won, and that in itself has instilled a lot of confidence in that man and his team.
Yeah, they certainly don't want to be in the position they're in again this year, but at least they can rely back on last year and understand as a team that they can get the job done and get into the playoffs. We've had 4 drivers get qualifying laps in. All 4 of them have taken both laps that they're allowed to take. Everybody on those 4 were fastest on the first lap. Josh Berry is the quickest right now. Cole Custer, Corey Heim, and Jesse Love, the 4 drivers who have taken laps.
Cody Ware on the racetrack right now. His first lap complete. 5th of the 5 drivers that have gone. Ty Dillon, John Hunter Nemechek, Todd Gilliland, Kyle Larson, Ty Gibbs, Justin Haley, and Brad Keselowski are in the on-deck circle.
Cody Ware, the first driver to do 1 lap, and that's it, and shut it down. You do not have to take both qualifying laps, Todd. This is the kind of the question mark that we've all been kind of sitting here wondering, who's going to just do 1 qualifying lap and not abuse your tires another lap?
It's going to be a lot easier to do that in a second group after you've seen what the group ahead of you has done and where you need to be. But the trend is showing itself. Lap 1's the lap, so we'll see where this goes. We got Ty Dillon out there on the racetrack now.
Ty Dillon driving for Colleague Racing takes that Chevrolet to the bottom of the racetrack and turns 1 and 2, and now we'll swing it wide up onto the back straightaway. When Ty comes to the start-finish line, Joey Aycock will give him the white flag, and his first lap of qualifying will be in the books. Here comes Ty out of turn 4.
See where he'll slide in. He'll go to the top of the leaderboard, so a good first lap for Ty Dillon as we check in with Steve Post.
Eric Jones down here. The Dollar Tree colors on the car. This team actually spent yesterday at Dollar Tree headquarters, and I saw pit stops and team members and employees doing pit stops. What's that like, first off, Eric, just to go to a primary partner's place and show off a little NASCAR stuff?
Yeah, it's good. Not all the employees are fans, right? So just to kind of share with them what we do and what they support and work for, and it's kind of neat. So it was cool to see a good turnout and show them a little bit of fun.
You cut your teeth on an old, worn-out racetrack, Berlin. In fact, you ran Berlin on Wednesday night, the Battle of Berlin. How does that compare in the tire wear and the fall-off to what we're seeing here at Richmond?
Yeah, it seems high for sure. We were struggling pretty good with balance, but it definitely seems like a lot of fall-off even after 30 or 40 laps. So it's going to be really managing your run and seeing how much rear grip you can keep in it, but should be interesting to see how the race goes for sure. A lot of fall off early and then off, so it'll be interesting tomorrow night.
It'll be interesting tomorrow night. I like where Eric Jones is at because he's another one of those short track super late model drivers that has spent a lot of time on old worn out racetracks. Need to clarify when he talks about tire fall off, it's not falling off the race car, it's the speed falling out of it as the tire wears. So less speed, that's the fall off we talk about when drivers mention that here talking on the grid.
Eric's teammate John Hunter Nemechek at Legacy Motor Club has just completed his second lap, 5th overall, with a 22.823, 118.302 miles an hour. Ty Dillon now the fastest of them all. He only took one lap. And right now the lap of record and the lap to beat is 22.506, 119.968 miles per hour.
Todd, before practice started, we were talking about the drivers in Group 1 in practice who had a better racetrack and better grip conditions than the Group 2. What about for...
Worse, because they've got the whole racetrack that has been rubbered up through both of the practices. And when these cars go out here, especially for 1 or 2 laps, the tires never get up to temperature. Those cold tires are picking up that rubber that's out there, and as they come back in, the racetrack's actually cleaning up through qualifying here.
Right now on the racetrack, Todd Gilliland will complete his 1 lap of qualifying, 22.725, 118.812 miles per hour. That'll put him 4th overall, Alex, of the 8 that have taken time so far.
Kyle Larson pulls onto the racetrack now, comes up to speed over on the back straightaway in his red, white, and blue Chevy. Exits turn 4, green flag is out, and Kyle Larson will begin his qualifying effort. Big question will be, does he take 1 lap or does he take 2? You're allowed to go 2 if you so choose, but it's all about tires, and we'll see what Larson does now as he makes his way into turn number 3.
Kyle Larson comes off the end of the back straightaway. That red, white, and blue HendrickCars.com Chevrolet comes rocketing up onto the main straightaway to complete his first lap, 4th overall, 22.692, 118.985 miles per hour. They've had some hard times here in the last 6 weeks or so. They've had a 17th at Atlanta, 13th at Chicago, 35th at Sonoma, 4th at Dover, 2nd in the Brickyard 400. But Alex, the last 2 weeks, 28th and 39th respectively.
The last 12 races, if you look at it in this way, Kyle Larson's averaging a 19.25 place finish. That is his worst 12-race streak in his career at Hendrick Motorsports. That's how rough the summer stretch has been for Kyle Larson. They elected to do 2 laps in qualifying. His first lap was the best, but it was still only good enough for 4th.
Ty Gibbs has taken his Toyota Camry onto the racetrack, flying the Sirius XM colors, a white and black Toyota Camry, coming off the end of the back straightaway. Of course, on the long run, Ty Gibbs, one of the cars that we'll be keeping an eye on here as he flashes under the white flag to complete lap 1.
He'll go 3rd best on lap number 1. He's over in turns 1 and 2 now, and he's going to roll out of the throttle. Nope, he's going to stay on it. Ty Gibbs is going to try to get a 2nd lap in here, see if he can be improved at all. Nobody has been better on their 2nd lap as of yet.
I misspoke. The white and blue Sirius XM colors flash underneath the starter stand and under the checkered flag.
He was 0.3 of a second slower on his 2nd lap, so he'll stand on lap number 1. That is 3rd best. Ty Dillon is the fastest so far from Richmond Raceway. This is the Motor Racing Network, the voice of NASCAR.
You've never been one to idly watch someone else do something for you. There's pride in self-reliance, in working with your hands, in harnessing the power of an E3 spark plug with Diamond Fire technology, yielding better engine performance. You have a choice to make. Take control of your ride, of your life, or be the passenger princess of it. Visit e3sparkplugs.com to put the power in your hands.
Do you have $10,000 or more in credit card debt? Are you barely getting by making minimum payments? With credit card debt reaching all-time highs, National Debt Relief is letting everyone know about great debt relief options now available to help people with overwhelming credit card debt. These options may reduce a large portion of your credit card debt. Get a free debt relief consultation when you call 800-212-2828. 800-212-2828. That's 800-212-2828.
Podcasts.
Back here at Richmond Raceway, qualifying is about to continue on. Justin Haley perps among the next handful of drivers to get out on the track.
Let's check in with Chris Wilner.
5-time winner Denny Hamlin getting ready to qualify. 3rd fastest on the single lap speeds in practice. So does that translate to potential pole here today?
We'll give it a try. We don't have the best draw here, obviously, because of our finish last week. So we'll go to work on it. But I feel like if we can get somewhere
in the top 10, that will do.
Are you surprised a lot of drivers are running 2 laps? Can't imagine you'd go any faster.
Well, you're just, with no second round, you're just making sure you're getting everything you can out of the tires. So, but if you do your job right, it's going to happen on the first lap.
Obviously, this place has been so good to you over the years. What have you figured out about Richmond, about getting around this place, especially on a race with 400 laps? It's all about saving those tires that you have.
Well, I've got so much experience at this racetrack and success that has allowed me to, when I come back here, search for that same feel that I had when I'd won races years past. So it makes it a little bit easier with having 20 years experience and knowing what this track needs.
It's Denny Hamlin getting ready to qualify again. 3rd fastest on the single lap speed earlier in practice.
Yeah, he is, and we'll wait and see what he says. He thinks top 10 will be what he needs to have himself a good starting spot. Next driver on the track to qualify will be Justin Haley. Green flag goes out. Justin Haley will begin his qualifying effort under sun-drenched and humid and hot afternoon here in Richmond, Virginia.
You got that right. When Justin Haley gets buttoned up, it'll be Brad Keselowski's turn to qualify. He'll be followed by Riley Herbst, Noah Gragson, Ricky Stenhouse Jr., Kyle Busch, who is the fastest overall in practice, followed by Zane Smith, Michael McDowell, Austin Dillon, and others.
Well, white flag is out for Justin Haley. He's already out of the gas, Todd, before he even gets to turn 1.
Got loose coming up off of turn 4 and got into the wall. Pretty flat hit. Both right sides together, but used up that safer barrier there before he got start-finish line.
That's not what he was looking for right there. There is slight damage on the right side of his Chevrolet, that Spire Motorsports Chevrolet. Justin has shut it down. He'll bring it to the bottom of the racetrack as Brad Keselowski will take his turn at his 2 laps of qualifying. Let's check in with Steve Post.
Austin Cindric down here walking up pit road with that Penske Ford Mustang. Austin, when we look at this qualifying session, I was watching Justin Haley get in the wall. How on the edge is a qualifying lap here at this racetrack?
Well, it's funny because I go out there and try and run as many laps as humanly possible in practice to see what our fall off is, and I'm expected to go out there and run 3 seconds faster than what practice pace just was when I finished. So it's a big jump in environment, if you will, just having it just to go on that fast and having that much grip available and what your inputs are to be able to make the most lap time in this Menards Ford Mustang. So looking forward to it. It's always fun to make that jump, but I thought we had a decent practice session. Need maybe work on a little bit of turn for the short run.
We'll see what happens with it. That's Austin Cindric, winner earlier this year at Talladega Super Speedway. So beyond running here at Richmond, getting tuned up to go playoff racing in a couple weeks, starting at Darlington.
Brad Keselowski goes out and runs 1 qualifying lap and shuts it down. But Mike, pretty good lap.
Pretty good lap for Brad Keselowski indeed. The only driver to break the 120-mile-an-hour mark, 120.741 miles an hour. Bradley turned in a 22.362 second lap, making him the fastest of the 12 that have qualified so far. Riley Herbst now with his 2311 Racing Toyotas on the track.
He's ran a little bit higher in turn 3 than some. The back end of the car kicks sideways on him here on exit of turn 4. He'll go to 7th on lap number 1. Riley Herbst, it looked like he missed the entrance to turn number 3 compared to what we've seen with some of the other drivers who enter the corner just a touch lower.
13 cars have taken time. Here's how they stack up in case you're just joining us. Brad Keselowski, quickest so far. Ty Dillon is 2nd. Josh Berry is 3rd. Ty Gibbs 4th. And Cole Custer is 5th. With Justin Haley Herbst in 7th. Kyle Larson's 8th. Todd Gilliland's 9th. Corey Heim is 10th. John Hunter Nemechek 11th. Jesse Love is 12th. And Cody Ware is 13th.
Noah Gragson comes through the gearbox on the backstretch, and he'll come around to take the green flag to begin his qualifying effort here for the Cookout 400 as green flag goes in the air for Noah Gragson. Don't forget, NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series racing from here at Richmond will be a little bit later on this evening. As a matter of fact, 7 o'clock Eastern Time, the NASCAR Racing Network will have the Aero 250, the regular season finale here for the trucks. You can hear it live here tonight.
Let's get a thought with Ryan Preece. He's with Chris Wilner.
He has climbed aboard his Ford Mustang for Roush Fenway Keselowski Racing. And Ryan, you ran the modified race last night. I know it wasn't exactly the day you wanted, but how is this race car here today as you get set to go qualify?
Yeah, I mean, I really feel like we got a pretty solid Kleenex Ford Mustang here today. Yeah, and I think the name of the game is going to be having a car that's pretty good in the long run. So I think we got a pretty good car and make some adjustments overnight. But obviously, we're focused on qualifying here right now, so feel pretty good about it.
What is the key to managing the long run in one of these Cup cars, especially at a place like Richmond that just eats tires?
It's a great question. If I figure it out, I'm probably not going to tell you either.
Copy that. That's Ryan Freese getting ready to qualify here. Again, ran the modified race yesterday, but talk about a guy with a lot of experience of saving tires. That could be a factor come race time tomorrow.
The Virginia is for Racing Lovers 150 for the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour was run here last night. It was won by Craig Lutz. He had a good run as he picked up his second win of the season.
Ricky Stenhouse Jr. is on the racetrack. He's on the green flag right now. Here he comes out of turn number 4. Joey Aycock shows him the white flag. And Ricky Stenhouse Jr. flashes underneath of the starter stand. 14th of 15. He just turned in a 22.842, 118.203 miles an hour, and he just shut it down halfway down the back straightaway. He will only take 1 lap instead of 2.
He'll make his way to pit lane, and Kyle Busch will pop the clutch on his black and white Rebel Bourbon Chevrolet and roll out onto the Richmond Raceway. Todd, I'm noticing here in turns 1 and 2, we got ourselves some cloud cover down there. Put some shade on the racetrack. Does that make a difference here?
It doesn't hurt. It doesn't hurt. We get a little temperature on the asphalt, get a little more grip into it. I do think, really, we've kind of got a hazy cloud here on the front stretch from the start-finish line down in turn 1. It becomes a solid cloud into turn 1 all the way through 2 and kind of hazes back to sunshine here in 3 and 4. Doesn't hurt. It's a little bit of an advantage.
81 races since Kyle Busch has gone to victory lane. The last time that happened at Worldwide Technology Raceway at Gateway back in 2023, his longest ever Cup winless streak. First lap in the books for Kyle Busch.
9th best for Kyle Busch on that lap. Again, he was the fastest in single lap speeds in practice earlier today, and he'll do one and done and shut the engine down on the back straightaway. If and when Kyle Busch finally gets back to victory lane in the NASCAR Cup Series, I think he'll take a bow, and maybe when he's done with that, take a drink. It's been quite the losing streak compared to what he's been used to having.
If he wins tomorrow night, it'll be his 17th career win on short tracks. He leads all active drivers, hasn't won on a short track since Bristol in April of 2019. And if he wins, he will be in the playoffs, and he'll run for the title this year. Out of turn number 4, Zane Smith takes the green flag.
While he does his qualifying lap or laps, let's hear from Chris Wilner.
And I'm here with Daniel Suarez getting ready to go aboard his Quaker State Chevrolet. Daniel, 7th place last week. How big of a weight was that lifted just to get back on the right horse, find some momentum as we come here to Richmond?
Just a little bit. It's not a win, but we want to win. But definitely a good weekend for us. Good execution race for sure. Very proud of everyone in the 99 group for with it, but obviously we want more. So hopefully we can continue to build from that and start fight. Once we start fighting the top 5, a win can happen anytime.
How is the race car today as far as what you learned in the last 25 minutes?
Very loose, too loose. Hopefully it's a little better here in qualifying.
All right, he's going to go climb aboard. Daniel Suarez gets set to qualify a very loose race car. That's got to be a little sketchy when we go qualifying here at Richmond.
On the racetrack right now, here comes Michael McDowell of Spire Motorsports. Michael's getting ready to flash underneath of the flag stand to take the green flag. We mentioned Zane Smith on the track a moment ago. He logged in the 10th fastest lap of the 17 that have taken time so far.
By the way, Zane Smith's lap is in the 10th spot after his qualifying effort. So this is the 18th driver to qualify here for the Cookout 400 at Richmond Raceway. Here's Michael McDowell down to the white flag.
2nd overall. Wow, what a first lap for Michael McDowell. 22.406. That's a 120.503 mile per hour lap. Only the 2nd driver now to eclipse that 120 mile an hour mark. He's right behind Brad Keselowski, and he is going after lap number 2, coming off turn 4.
He's going to be about 0.3 of a second slower on lap number 2. That's the trend we've been seeing. So McDowell's first lap, good enough for 2nd, and that's where he'll slide in behind the current fast driver on the property, Brad Keselowski, as Austin Dillon, the winner of this race 1 year ago, begins his qualifying lap.
When Austin gets done, Chase Elliott will be up for his qualifying run. Carson Hocevar coming up as well. Denny Hamlin, Alex Bowman, Austin Cindric, Eric Jones, and Joey Logano who crashed in practice earlier today, hit the outside wall when the right front tire went down. They've been able to patch that car up and get him onto the racetrack as Austin Dillon completes his first lap.
Good lap for Austin Dillon. That'll go to third best right now. So the top 5 as we sit, as Austin Dillon shuts it down on a one and done. Brad Keselowski the quickest. Michael McDowell is second. Austin Dillon third. His brother Ty Dillon is fourth. And Josh Berry rounds out the top 5. We've had 19 drivers take time. Up next will be Chase Elliott. You'll hear it right here when we come back from Richmond Raceway. This is the Motor Racing Network, the voice of NASCAR.
Every time the siren sounds or lights flash, someone's life is on the line. At Whelen Engineering, we know first responders carry that weight every day. That's why for over 70 years, we've led the emergency warning industry, designing and manufacturing the lights, sirens, and safety systems they trust right here in America. Because when the mission is critical, there's no room for second best. Whelen Engineering, trusted to protect first responders.
Hi folks, Kyle Petty here. This year Victory Junction is celebrating 20 amazing years of bringing fully adaptive camp experiences to kids with serious medical conditions. Through summer camp, family weekends, and hospital outreach, Victory Junction provides joy year-round. And the best part? Camp is always completely free for the families we serve. Together we can make a difference for kids. Learn more about how you can get involved and support at victoryjunction.org.
Back here at Richmond Raceway, let's hear from Shane Van Gisbergen.
Shane's getting ready to climb aboard. We'll catch up real quick. Shane, how do you prepare for oval qualifying at an old worn-out racetrack like this?
Yeah, it's going to be a big speed difference from, but yeah, same for everyone. Have a crack, see how we go.
There we go. That is Shane Van Gisbergen. Man, I'll tell you what, 1, 2, 3, 4 winners stickers on that race car after that win at Watkins Glen. And getting awful good or better on these oval races as well. We'll see how he does, though, here today. Another challenge with an old worn-out oval here in Richmond, Virginia.
Well, SVG obviously has put his skill set of road course racing on display. He's won the last 4 road course races. And Alex, he admits that his oval track racing skill set is under construction, as it were. But the team feels, I talked with Stephen Doran, his crew chief, earlier this week. They feel they're making progress. They're taking steps. He's running the summer shootout, running Legends car, trying to get the confidence up, also trying to learn the fundamentals of oval racing to get better and be a contender.
He's a talented race car driver. You don't win races of any kind if you're not good and can adapt to different types of things. I think he'll figure this oval racing out. It may take some time because it is a discipline, and it's far more difficult than what a lot of people may think. And I think Shane Van Gisbergen will be the first one to tell you that. As much success as he's had racing on streets and road circuits, to come here and run oval track racing's really thrown him for a loop.
Here's Chase Elliott at turn number 4 to complete his first lap of qualifying. To the top of the leaderboard he goes. 22.361 seconds, 120.746 miles per hour. He's going to shut it down and make that Chase Elliott the fastest of them all so far. Backtrack side to Chris.
Ryan Blaney has the flat black body armor colors aboard his Ford Mustang. We'll get in a word with Ryan before he climbs aboard. Car looks good. Does it feel good as it drives here at Richmond Raceway?
Yeah, I don't feel too bad. Thought it was a decent practice session for us and kind of figuring out what we need in our car now and then what it's going to do tomorrow night. Pretty hot out right now, and we'll get to race time tomorrow, especially after the first stage or so. But yeah, overall decent day. Body armor Ford Mustang has got good speed in it, so that's a good place to start. Hopefully we can have a good qualifying here and go from there.
How aggressive is a qualifying lap here?
Way different than race run. You go from really babying it around there with 50 laps on your stuff to, all right, now you got to find a couple seconds, and with the way qualifying and this tire is now, like your first lap is, 2-3 tenths faster than your second, so you better hit it right on lap 1. So whereas before I thought you could kind of go tit for tat, lap 1 or lap 2 if you made a mistake lap 1. So definitely a different mindset. Hopefully you hit it right.
It's Ryan Blaney getting ready to qualify here at Richmond. Going to make his 350th consecutive Cup Series start tomorrow night here at Richmond.
He will indeed. By the way, Carson Hocevar 5th on his lap. Denny Hamlin on the racetrack. Not necessarily his favorite racetrack statistically, speaking of Ryan Blaney, Todd.
Yeah, I mean, when I took over being his crew chief in 2020, this was his least favorite racetrack. It's one that he just never had the feel for. We came here, copied everything the 2-car did that weekend, including calling the race and how we adjusted on the car, just to let him kind of experience and work on what he had here. He's made this racetrack better for him, but it's been one of his weaker racetracks when you look at performance.
Denny Hamlin has just set the fastest time. He has taken the Progressive Toyota to the top of the leaderboard, 22.347. That's 120.822 miles per hour. We talked about him in the practice portion of our broadcast, Alex, and he has responded with a pole run so far. He is the 22nd car to qualify for the Cookout 400.
Yeah, there's still a lot of cars still to go, but that is a strong lap by Denny Hamlin. So we'll wait and see how it plays out. The next driver on the track, beginning the qualifying lap from Hendrick Motorsports, is Alec, as Bowman now works his way off turn 2. Back to Steve Post.
Chase Briscoe down here. Chase, I see you watching the timer and the tracker and the overlay there. How'd you see Denny's lap, and how do you feel you can compare with the guy that's your teammate and set quick time so far?
Yeah, hopefully I can drive it like Denny does. In practice, he was definitely way better than I was. But yeah, just always truthfully kind of been lost here to a certain extent, and still kind of feel lost truthfully. So yeah, I don't know what to expect here. You know, I know that James and the guys will do a really good job here on Bass Pro Shops Toyota, but I don't know. Denny did. You know, honestly, I didn't think he was going to get the pole there, and he nailed 3 and 4. So just trying to see if I can learn anything or take anything. I'm kind of like a sponge here right now, so let's see what we got.
We shall see what happens. It is the traditional Bass Pro Shops tracker boat colors on the Toyota. Chase Briscoe will be the 4th driver from the end of this qualifying session.
Right now on the racetrack, Austin Cindric takes the green flag. Alex Bowman just completed his qualifying lap a moment ago.
4th best for Alex Bowman. He elected to do 2 laps, and like everybody else, 0.3 of a second slower on lap number 2. So right now, it's Denny Hamlin the quickest. Then you've got Chase Elliott, Brad Keselowski, Alex Bowman, Michael McDowell, the 5 fastest cars with Austin Cindric on the track.
Austin Cindric completes his first lap, 7th of the 24 cars that have qualified, a 22.442 second lap, 120.310 miles per hour. Let's get the thoughts of Chris Buescher with Chris.
Yeah, Chris is walking down to his car as he gets set to qualify. He'll be the 3rd to last to go here. Chris, how was the long run speed? But more importantly, what's one lap in this Mustang got?
Getting ready to find out. I'll see how it goes. Practice was pretty decent. Fired off there. And it held on pretty good for quite a while. So, I don't know. Grown to like this place a little bit through the years, so excited to see what we can do tomorrow evening.
What's the dynamic like, of course, racing Ryan and even your team owner Brad trying to get his way into the playoffs as well? What are these last couple of weeks been like, and has the intensity kind of ramped up a little bit?
It's pretty much business as usual. We're all just trying to figure out how to go to the racetrack and win races.
Copy that. Easier said than done. That's Chris Buescher again getting ready to qualify here in his 5th third bank Ford Mustang.
As off turn 4, Eric Jones bounces off the safer barrier. He scuffed it pretty good here coming up off turn number 4. His first lap of qualifying, 11th best for Eric Jones, and he'll slow that green and white Dollar Tree Toyota down and head back to the pit lane.
Justin Haley as well made contact with the wall coming out of turn number 4 in his qualifying lap. Earlier, Carson Hocevar spun. Joey Logano had a right front go down, made contact with the right front of the wall in turn number 3. And right now, everybody is just on the edge, just trying to get all they can get. Speaking of Joey Logano, looks like they were able to put the old gal back together enough for a qualifying lap. Alex, Joey's just pulled out onto the racetrack.
Here he comes through turns 3 and 4, and there is smoke trailing from the back of that car. Right front is rubbing big time after the wall contact in practice as he takes the green flag. It is important again, Todd, for Joey to make sure he posts a qualifying time here.
Yeah, it is. That way they can transfer the tires, but I'm not sure that right front's got a little smoke, a fair amount of smoke on it on corner exit.
Right now he's coming off the end of the back straightaway, and he's just tiptoeing. He's not even going to complete a lap. He's just going to pull the car off the banking and pull it to pit road. As he set the car in the corner, there was a lot of smoke coming from the right front, and obviously that is where he made contact with the wall during practice earlier today. They won't even turn a full lap. He has just come to pit road, and they've turned him into the NASCAR Cup Series garage.
So Joey Logano will start the Cookout 400 from dead last
lap. He's just going to pull the car off the banking and pull it to pit road. As he set the car in the corner, there was a lot of smoke coming from the right front, and obviously that is where he made contact with the wall during practice earlier today. They won't even turn a full lap. He has just come to pit road, and they've turned him into the NASCAR Cup Series garage.
So Joey Logano will start the Cookout 400 from dead last. I guess the big question now, Todd, in NASCAR's eyes, did that constitute a qualifying effort, be able to transfer that set of tires to the race?
Yeah, we'll have to see what they come up with there. Obviously, that right front's got some wear on it from smoke in there, but that'll be Brad Moran and work forward, but see what they come up with.
Brad Moran, the managing director of the NASCAR Cup Series, will make that decision. And, of course, you know, the team was trying to take that set of qualifying scuffs to the race tomorrow night that everyone else will be taking. However, Joey Logano, Paul Wolfe, and that Shell Pennzoil Ford Mustang team behind the 8-ball right now, especially in qualifying. It is the white flag flying for Daniel Suarez of Trackhouse Racing.
12th is where he'll slide after lap number 1 on that bright green Quaker State entry, and he'll roll out of the throttle on the backstretch and call it a qualifying effort. So Suarez falls in line 12th. Denny Hamlin still the fastest as A.J. Allmendinger takes the Black's Tire Service Chevrolet up onto the race course.
After A.J. Allmendinger, we'll have Ryan Preece, Ross Chastain, Bubba Wallace, Tyler Reddick, Shane Van Gisbergen, Ryan Blaney, Chase Briscoe, Chris Buescher, William Byron, and Christopher Bell, and then qualifying for the Cookout 400 will be in the books.
Here is the green flag in the air for A.J. Allmendinger as he makes his way off into turn number 1. Let's see what he's got speed-wise. It's been a quiet year for A.J. here in the 2025 campaign. Never know what track he could jump up and have some solid results at, but Allmendinger, solid-looking lap here so far in his opening lap.
Here's A.J. He'll pull the car off of the bottom of turn number 4. Cross the start-finish line. Wow. To the pole he goes. A.J. Allmendinger. 22.341 seconds. 120.854 miles per hour.
And you could see he was getting everything out of that car into turn 1. Really edgy down there. Looked a little freak. Rolling a ton of speed. Impressive lap for A.J. Allmendinger.
That was big. A.J. Allmendinger to the top of the leaderboard here as we're getting closer to the end of it in qualifying, as he now has the bullseye on the back of his Black's Tire Chevrolet at the top of the leaderboard as Ryan Preece comes up off turn 4, and Ryan Preece takes his bright blue and white Roush Fenway Keselowski Racing Ford down into turn number 1.
Had a challenge in practice early on, was on you called it the right column or the right-hand side of the leaderboard on the computer screen, which indicates the slowest cars there. Let's see if Ryan Preece can get a number 1 starting position or thereabouts. Here he is across the start-finish line.
He does. Top of the leaderboard, Ryan Preece. So A.J. Allmendinger's time sitting down, looking down on everybody else. Well, that lasted about 40 seconds, and that's it.
The right column or the right-hand side of the leaderboard on the computer screen, which indicates the slowest cars there. Let's see if Ryan Preece can get a number 1 starting position or thereabouts. Here he is across the start-finish line.
He does. Top of the leaderboard, Ryan Preece. So A.J. Allmendinger's time sitting down, looking down on everybody else. Well, that lasted about 40 seconds, and that's it. Ryan Preece now goes to the top of the leaderboard. So it's Ryan Preece, A.J. Allmendinger, Denny Hamlin, Chase Elliott, and Brad Keselowski. A handful of cars still remaining from Richmond Raceway. This is the Motor Racing Network, the voice of NASCAR.
Hi, I'm Ryan Blaney, a third-generation race car driver. and I dedicate a lot of my time going fast. But when my grandpa was diagnosed with Alzheimer's, it was a very unexpected bump in the road for us. It's important to notice if older family members are acting differently or having trouble with routine tasks. Early detection of Alzheimer's can give your family time to explore support services and access available treatments. If you or your family are noticing changes, it could be Alzheimer's. Talk about seeing a doctor together. Visit alz.org/time-to-talk. A message from the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
Jeff Gordon wins the Daytona 500. Jeff Gordon's rise to one of NASCAR's all-time greatest drivers was one like no other. Relive Jeff Gordon's journey to the NASCAR Hall of Fame with the exclusive MRN podcast, Jeff Gordon, A Colorful Career. 93 Cup Series wins, 4 Cup Series championships, and 3 Daytona 500 wins. A career rivaled by few others. Check out MRN's Jeff Gordon, A Colorful Career on podcast platforms and MRN.com.
Ross Chastain got his qualifying lap in. Not a great lap. 25th for Ross Chastain. Right now, making way up off turn number 2 is Bubba Wallace, and see what he can do.
The last month of NASCAR Cup Series competition for Bubba has been spectacular. 7th at Dover, he won the Brickyard 400. He was 6th at Iowa. He was 8th at Watkins Glen International 1 week ago. And here's Bubba out of turn number 4 and flashing under the white flag.
Top 10 so far for Bubba Wallace on lap 1. It'll be 6th best. And I'm not sure if he's going to want to try to put more abuse on those Goodyear tires. No, he's going to roll out of the throttle on the backstretch.
It's been an impressive run, and I really feel like Bubba has done such a good job this year. Charleston Ike doing a good job with him, but I think fatherhood has helped him mature some too. He's putting races together. He's getting what he's got out of it, as you talked about the run that they've done on here lately.
Bubba's teammate Tyler Reddick getting ready to roll out onto the racetrack. He'll be followed by Shane Van Gisbergen, and then Blaney, Briscoe, Buscher, Byron, and Bell, attorneys at law, will wrap up qualifying here in Richmond.
The Killer Bees will be getting their qualifying laps in. Here comes Tyler Reddick. Green flag goes out. Let's see what Tyler Reddick can do here on his qualifying effort. Again, Ryan Preece atop the leaderboard in a Ford. Second best in a Chevrolet is A.J. Allmendinger. Third best in the Toyota is Denny Hamlin. Will it shake up? We're about to find out as Tyler Reddick makes his way up off turn 4.
He brings his multicolored Chumba Casino Toyota Camry to the start-finish line. Second on the leaderboard for Tyler Reddick, 22.331. That's 120.908 seconds. That'll be a good starting position for Tyler Reddick coming tomorrow night.
Yeah, it will, and that's something I think he and that team need. They are in right now on points, and they're in a pretty good spot points-wise, but, you know, they expect to win. They were winning races last year. They have yet to bust into the W column here in 2025. They expect, quite frankly, to win not a race, but races. So they're trying to get off the schneid and see if they can do that here. As Shane Van Gisbergen comes up off turn number 4 and takes the green flag.
Winner of last weekend's Go Bowling at the Glen at Watkins Glen International. SVG sails her off into turn number 1, dials up the low lane of the racetrack, takes that WeatherTech Chevrolet halfway up the back straightaway, and let's see what lap number 1 will have for SVG as he's looking at the white flag coming off the corner.
A solid exit off turn 4 for Shane Van Gisbergen, close to the wall, and he'll be 22nd on the rundown out of 32 drivers for Shane Van Gisbergen.
SVG now is only going to take one lap of the 2. He'll shut it down and bring it down to the bottom of the racetrack, and then that will turn things over to Ryan Blaney as SVG made contact with the wall, Alex, coming out of turn 4.
As much rubber's being put down on the racetrack, every bit about the same amount of rubber's being put down on the side of the safer barrier here off turn number 4. There's been a lot of cars drift wide and give it just a little bit of a kiss up off of turn number 4 as Ryan Blaney comes to the green flag.
The matte black body armor Ford Mustang for Ryan Blaney and Team Penske. Here's Ryan now under the green flag. He'll dive it off into turn number 1. That black and white Mustang now rocketing up off turn 2 and headed down the back straightaway.
Yeah, see that 2.5 second sprint down the back chute sets up for turn number 3. right down on the yellow line that separates the apron from the banking. Here's the first lap for Ryan Blaney.
White flag in the air, lap 1 in the books. He'll be 16th of the 33 that have taken time. Ryan turning in a 22.548 second lap, 1:19.745. He'll shut it down and bring that car to pit road, and that will lead us for Chase Briscoe, that has won a pole or 6 here in 2025.
Most pole positions of anybody here this season. They have been quite the opposite of what we talked about with Ross Chastain, who struggled on Saturdays in qualifying. Well, it's been quite the opposite for Chase Briscoe, as he's got that Dayglow red and black Bass Pro Shops Tracker Boats Toyota up off turn number 4. Green flag is out, and Briscoe trips the clocks.
Of course, Martin Truex Jr. has had many a great run over the years in that very same race car. Chase was talking about it earlier this week. Even though a pole may not, and he's sideways out of 2, and he had to hang on to the race car. He didn't hang on, or he hung on. He didn't make contact with the outside wall, but that was a handful for him coming off turn 2.
And that will certainly cost him on the stopwatch. He'll be 16th on lap number 1, and not so sure he's going to even try for lap number 2 with the tires. Nope, not at all. He's shuttered down already over in turns 1 and 2. So Chase Briscoe, 16th on his qualifying lap.
Chris Buescher is next up. Then William Byron, then Christopher Bell, and then qualifying for the Cookout 400 will be over. Here's Chris Buescher pulling onto the racetrack, looking for win number 1 of the season now. He'll take that 5th third bank Ford Mustang onto the racing surface. And Chris Buescher looking to perhaps maybe join his boss, Brad Keselowski, who right now is 6th on the leaderboard, just trying to qualify in the top 10, maybe the top 5, even win the pole for this thing.
And he'll have to beat his teammate Ryan Preece in order to do that from Roush Fenway Keselowski Racing, as that team car, Chris Buescher, off turn 2. He said just a moment ago in his interview that he's grown to like this place somewhat. Here he comes off turn number 4.
Buescher now off the turn. Let's see what lap he can turn in. He comes close to the wall, does not hit it. He'll be 11th overall. 22.430, 120.374 miles an hour. Byron and Bell are left, and right now it's Ryan Preece in the catbird seat, smiling a mile wide, as he is just 2 cars away from potentially winning the pole for the Cookout 400.
Which would be his 2nd career Cup Series pole. The other one came on a short track as well. That happened at the Martinsville Speedway back on April of 2023. So see if he can survive William Byron and Christopher Bell. First one up is Willie B as he makes his way to turn number 1.
William Byron leading the points right now in the NASCAR Cup Series. He's got a 42-point advantage over Chase Elliott. With 2 races to go in the regular season, he's poised and in position to win the regular season championship, but he's got to get through the race tomorrow night, and then, of course, he's got to get through the race next weekend at Daytona International Speedway.
White flag is out, and lap number 1 complete for William Byron, 13th for Byron. So Ryan Preece dodges another one as he sits atop the leaderboard, and then there was one.
The Ford of Ryan Preece leads in qualifying. In case you missed it or in case you don't know, the last time a Ford won a NASCAR Cup Series race this year was when Ryan Blaney did it on June 1st at Nashville. They're trying to snap a month-and-a-half-long losing streak and get a blue oval back to victory lane, and they're trying to do it at a racetrack where Toyotas have seemed to rule the roost as of late.
And a Toyota's the last one on the racetrack to qualify. It's black, it's yellow, it's got DeWalt emblazoned on it, and the driver is Christopher Bell. Green flag is out. C. Bell heads to turns 1 and 2. Preece now nervously watches. Here is Christopher Bell up off turn 2 and heads down to the back straightaway.
Here he comes. He'll take that yellow and black Toyota back to turn number 3. The question is, who will lead us to the green flag? Will it be Ryan Preece? Will it be Christopher Bell? White flag in the air for C. Bell. 8th overall, and Ryan Preece has won the pole for the Cookout 400 at Richmond Raceway. He and his Roush Fenway Keselowski Racing Ford. Green flag, Tyler Reddick will start alongside him on the front row.
Had a chance to visit with Derek Finley, his crew chief, in the garage earlier today. Derek is so unassuming and so laid back. He didn't seem stressed at all this morning in the garage.
No, I feel like they put themselves in a position. They're playing with house money. They're just taking this one race at a time and doing the things that are good for them, and it's been working out so far.
We will chat with Ryan Preece in a moment from Richmond Raceway. This is the Motor Racing Network, the voice of NASCAR.
Do you have $10,000 or more in credit card debt? Are you barely getting by making minimum payments? With credit card debt reaching all-time highs, National Debt Relief is letting everyone know about great debt relief options now available to help people with overwhelming credit card debt. These options may reduce a large portion of your credit card debt. Get a free debt relief consultation when you call 800-212-2828. 800-212-2828. That's 800-212-2828.
You've never been one to idly watch someone else do something for you. There's pride in self-reliance, in working with your hands, in harnessing the power of an E3 spark plug with Diamond Fire technology, yielding better engine performance. You have a choice to make. Take control of your ride, of your life, or be the passenger princess of it. Visit e3sparkplugs.com to put the power in your hands.
Back at Richmond Raceway, qualifying is over for the Cookout 400, and let's chat now with the gentleman that'll lead the field to the green flag. He's with Steve Post.
Ryan Preece, 121.381 miles per hour for Ryan Preece, 22.244. Ryan, you said to me, wasn't sure you had that on your bingo card. How good was that lap? How did it feel?
I mean, I felt like it was on my bingo card. I'm not sure about everybody else's, but that Kleenex Kroger Ford Mustang was really sporty, and I felt good about it in practice, and it showed up for qualifying. So, we have a great starting spot. Tomorrow we just got to go execute, and hopefully we can win this race.
Do you have a sense on what it's going to be like tomorrow? Because it's longer than a qualifying lap. You're going to have to deal with this whole racetrack.
Yeah, I think that's what's nice about it is we have really good track position, but tomorrow is going to be about managing tires. I mean, that was the story of what my practice was, is just trying to see what was the best way to take care of them. And I feel like we have a good direction for tomorrow, and, just really proud of everybody with RFK and Robert Yates, or Roush Yates engines, and ready to go to war.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Ryan Preece going to lead us to green here tomorrow night in Virginia.
Tyler Reddick will also join Ryan Preece on the front row. Be sure to tune in for our live coverage of the Cookout 400 NASCAR Live Race Day. We'll take to the air at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time. For Steve Post and Chris Wilner on the pit lane, and for Todd Gordon and Alex Hayden, I'm Mike Bagley. Thank you so much for joining us for our coverage of qualifying and practice from Richmond. Don't forget, coming up at the top of the hour on the NASCAR Racing Network, we'll have live coverage of the Aero 250, the regular season finale for the tough trucks of NASCAR. Until then, so long, everybody.
Motor Racing Network's coverage of practice and pole qualifying for the Cookout 400 has come to you from Richmond Raceway. Presented on MRN by E3 Spark Plugs. Powerful and fuel efficient.
Well, thank you very much to the team over there as well. We now have our grid, and it is Ryan Preece who will lead us to the green flag tomorrow. And don't forget, in half an hour, we'll be back on ready for the Truck Series race. You can join us for all of the action. But from us all here, next up, it is the regular season finale for the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. That's coming your way with MRN. We'll see you tomorrow. Myself, Josh T., Matthew Owens and Jack will all be in the commentary box. We'll see you then. Take care. Bye-bye.